Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and welcome to episode 291 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast.
And it's me, Karak with ACG.
And I'm Dustin with Last Stand Media and Handsome Phantom.
Dustin, I just noticed you have a friend in your lap.
Yeah, well, normally I lock Frisk away. And I thought about this last week. I just said I put her in her box. And I realized that that's like Holly and I's joke is that we have a crate that she has a nice little bed, a blanket. It's a little, she has a thing that she can drink water out of. It's a very cozy little place.
The den.
Calling it the box.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah,
pretty
that'll
bad.
get somebody pussy.
Yeah. So, no, but I was sitting on the couch trying to relax just in between, there was a bunch of Last Stand stuff I was doing earlier. And then Frisk was with me and I'm like, I can't put her back in there right now. She needs to relax. And so I'm just gonna, this episode, just listen. I'm gonna be like an evil villain,
stroking your pet,
stroking the pet, like, the whole time. So
yeah, your dog is wildly calmer than mine. I could not see Revan sitting on my lap for that. Like
she
sorry, but look at her.
Oh no, gosh. Yeah, she I mean, I don't know, the risk I'm taking on right now, she may hear something outside and decide to lose her mind, or she's just going to sleep the entire time in my lap, which is usually what she does on my streams. So
really, That's amazing. I'm envious of that. Revan likes to cuddle, but it's on his time. I cannot pick him up and hold him. And I mean, it's something with the rat terrier breed. They are stubborn, man. They will not.
Well, that's Frisk is half rat terrier.
Really?
She's half dachshund and half rat terrier.
I'm just an awful dog owner. Might just be it. There's a
every dog is different
somewhere.
So
anyway, gentlemen, it's great to be here. Ladies and gentlemen who are listening, it's great to have you here. We hope you're doing well. This week is going to be super, super busy. So we got a lot to go over, from Anthem next to a major Bethesda event in March being rumored, Pokemon open world game, Diamond and Pearl remakes being announced, Halo Infinite seeing some massive improvements. We have state of play reactions, your patron questions. So get cozy, because I think all of these topics are pretty relevant to what we do on the channel, and I think everyone's going to find this interesting. So I'm going to be paying attention to that listener number. I'm going to be watching you all, seeing how long you're staying tuned for. Most times I just let you exist. This time I'm going to be cranking that on the analytics. So if you want to support all of that crazy stuff, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/MrMattyPlays. Early access for the show is available there. It goes live every Friday, and then it will go live to everyone else on Sunday. Someone asked about early access for video. I just can't do that because by the time it renders, it'll be Saturday, and the show goes live on Sunday. Also, we fixed our Spotify issue. That is good to go, so you can listen there again. We apologize that there was a delay. We had to wait on Spotify for that and then get the RSS feeds all configured. So that has been fixed. That is good to go. And hopefully you will continue to listen there or wherever you please. We're available on a lot of platforms. But enough of the housekeeping. Dustin, Karak, how have you been? What have you been up to? What have you been playing? Go for it.
Go ahead.
Well, for me, man, it's been, as I was telling you guys before the show, it's been a busy week. We just put out a nearly 4-hour, not quite 4-hour, but 4-hour episode of Sacred Symbols today. So it's on our Patreon. That'll be available on Monday to everybody, but it was a pretty fun episode to do. We also launched our merch line, which you guys talked about in Defining Duke.
Yes.
So any Last Stand fans out there can check it out. But as far as for me personally, I'm still diving more into Persona 5 Strikers, but do you ever just have a week and it's like I maybe will have like an hour or two at a time, but something doesn't feel right where I'm like, I don't want to dive into this game.
Yeah,
right now.
Your time is finite with it.
Right. So I don't know. I'm hoping to get a ton of time in tomorrow though. But I've been giving you updates about my streaming games. And so I've started Dark Souls 3 finally. Ooh. After finally finishing Dark Souls 2. I told you guys, dude, Dark Souls 3 fucking rules.
It does.
It's awesome. And a lot of people already know this, but maybe you don't. So I want to put out the PSA that if you have Dark Souls 3, you play it on a PlayStation 5, you're going to get that at 60 FPS locked. I don't know about locked. I can't tell any frame dips at all from what my playthrough. I didn't notice anything. I didn't have a frame timer, but nothing ever jumped out to me during my play. And yeah, it's been awesome to go back. It's a weird feeling because it's that I put like 70 hours into Dark Souls 3 when it initially came out, and I have not touched it since 2016. So going back is this weird feeling of remembering that 70 hours, but also like it feels new again in a lot of ways.
That's the best feeling.
Yeah. And it's just cool too this time. I have a really unique perspective in that I just played Dark Souls 1 and 2. So I can immediately feel the changes, the Bloodborne influence, the combat has never been stronger when it comes to Dark Souls in particular.
Have you felt like any burnout with just Souls after Souls after Souls? Or are you like, is it just because you're pacing out with other games? Like you have Strikers in the mix now? I'm just curious because sometimes I do have those moments where I burst through a series or something. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I have that mentality. You're going through with it. That's what's so impressive about it. You are going back to back to back and so on and so forth. It's really impressive actually when I think about it.
Honestly, like thinking about it now, I would think that I would have gotten burned out because it was like Sekiro Platinum, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, now Dark Souls 3. And I would think that I'd be burned out, but I'm not. And I don't know if it's just because I'm saving it for streaming. That might be part of it. So just because it like forces me to play a few times a week for 2 to 3 hours. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm like looking forward. In fact, I haven't been able to stream. Definitely not. I didn't yesterday, or I think the day before. Anyway, my schedule's all over the place. So sometimes I have to go a few days without streaming. And like right now, I'm like super excited for streaming tomorrow. Like I'm really, really excited to dive back into that game. So, but yeah, the question is though, once I'm done with Dark Souls 3 is, do I play Bloodborne? But I feel like I can't until it's patched.
I would wait.
But
not because I think it's like, oh, I know it's happening soon. Just I would wait because I would regret it if I got like 40 hours into a 30 FPS playthrough and then boom, there it is. I mean, we'll talk about obviously Final Fantasy VII Remake later, but I anticipate something on that level, hopefully with Bloodborne. Maybe not the expansion, but the level of quality of life enhancements that are being brought to the table and visuals. I hope for that. But I would be kicking myself if I finally bit the bullet after 4 years and then boom. There's the patch that we've all waited for. So I'll continue to cross my fingers.
Something interesting that someone told me about is, and I verified this, Bloodborne has scheduled maintenance at the beginning of March. On the next, I think it's March 3rd. Now, I did verify. I went and I looked, and there was one scheduled maintenance in 2020. So early 2020. So this really could be a yearly routine that they do scheduled. They just clean up, whatever. But there's part of me that has to hope that maybe this is happening next week. But I highly doubt it also. But it is interesting. But that's all for me.
Karak?
Outriders. I did a video on Outriders and played. I think I played 4 or 5 or 6 hours of that. And that unfortunately made me so sick that I didn't play anything last night. Prior to Outriders, I'd been playing.
It ruined gaming for you.
No, it's just that shaky cam. Luckily, they have admitted they are removing it because I've never in my life experienced it. Made District 9 look like a documentary made by the most still-handed person in the world. I've never in my life experienced shaky. Like I didn't want to say anything, and I finally tweeted it, and everybody was like, "Oh, thank God!" Somebody mentioned like I've never seen shaky cam when a character's sitting at a bar, and it would just be like,
yeah, that would give me vertigo, man.
It did. I was so ill that Reg was like, VR illness? Because VR illness to me is one that knocks me out for the day if I'm not really careful. And I was like, dude, it's really close because I puked. But it was because I played it really early in the morning and I have a big TV. I took my pills because I knew that there was shaky cam because a developer warned me. They were like, dude, it's pretty heavy shaky cam. And I was just, I think, sitting a little too close and playing it. And I played a lot of hours to do my preview. And it caught up with me, man. And it was bad. That was horrible. The game itself also, not the greatest. And that was interesting. One of the better stories I've ever seen in a looter shooter, though. So even if I never played this game again, once the story came out, I will probably download. Like this is the first time where I've been like, oh, holy shit, I care about these kids. Like, this is good. Like, awesome characters. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. It was cool too to mention it and see people's videos already yesterday where they're like the best story possibly in a looter shooter. And I would agree. Like, I think it was Delrith or somebody was like, oh yeah, he posted this morning. He's like, in just a couple cutscenes, that game has more world building than any other looter shooter.
Wow.
Like, and this character comes in, and I was just like, what the fuck's going on? It was just so good. I just wish the gameplay was even near that. And that's like bad level design. I don't know. We'll have to see how that ends up coming out. I think it's just a demo. You never know, right?
Yeah, it's a good indicator.
You never know.
Though.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, I hope not. But
it's interesting just because when I played it in August, which was a totally different build, I should make everyone clear of that. The story to me was that kind of B-tier cheesiness, like Bulletstorm, and I was like, I kind of disregarded.
There was literally nothing B cheese in this part. Now this is a starting, so I don't know when you played.
I was in the middle, kind of.
Dude, so. Well, that's sort of scary, right? Because maybe that means it falls. But
maybe it develops, and
this is straight up World War II dark shit going on. They're hanging people by the neck, flamethrowing them, while you're in the back of a truck being led to your death, right at the starting. Like, I was all, this is dark as fuck. And then you're fighting other guys that have your powers. And there's a guy straight out of Deus Ex. I swear to God, it's Adam Jensen's voice. But he is this guy. He is so fucking cool. I don't even know what he is, but he's like, he's on your team, but not on your team, but on your team. And maybe the bad guys are the good guys and good guys, but he's like, you don't know. And I was just sitting there the entire time going like, man, if the rest of the game was like this, this would be the most exciting demo I've played in years. So it's unfortunate that what you saw, hopefully that's like maybe a side thing. But yeah, I was really, really stoked to see people like positive about it, because you never know when you're playing something if everybody's going to feel the same way. Same thing with the motion sickness. I was like, I don't want people to be like, you're just hammering on it, because I wasn't at all. It was over the top. Luckily, Square has stated they're fixing it, so I think that's cool. The other thing I was playing was so I use Moonshine, which is a streaming software to stream to your tablet. So you can use Steam Link. You can use, there's a couple programs. I use Moonshine because it has some extra options. And lately I've been testing a freak ton of games, brand new, old, to see how they work. And you can use a virtual controller on the front of the screen. There's various ways you can do it. And that's been a blast to check that out, because, dude, I was playing Disney Infinity on my tablet in bed, just going like, holy fuck, is there a game that looks better than this? Like it's so weird because it's a smaller screen, so you can crank the graphics.
Yeah. And
I'm just playing it. And even my wife was watching over my shoulder going like, holy fuck, that looks incredible. And I'm like, yeah, because she thought it was the tablet. And I'm like, no, it's streaming. It's not a Android. It's not like a mobile game. It's streaming. Mordor, Shadow of Mordor I played. A little harder because you have to hold down a button to stealth in that game. And holding a virtual button down, never a good sign, right? But dude, I've been having just the time of my life streaming using that and testing games and just seeing like what games, I love but haven't played in a while that might be fun laying in bed and playing. So that's been sort of a tech kind of thing for me. That's about it.
I have a question.
Oh, good. I was just going to say, it's funny because Outriders, just to quickly pick that back up, it's funny because you didn't like the gameplay. I thought that was like the most fun part, because it reminded me a lot of how Mass Effect played, albeit a little more locomotive. You were kinetic, rather. You were like all over the place.
Right, but didn't you just say you were in the middle?
Yeah, true.
Okay, so
and they gave us a pretty fulfilling build, right? So
here, the best gun I got was a gun. It was the worst designed gun I'd ever seen. It was a
pistol in Fallout 4.
It would, no lie. And your powers I had were like, throw flame, pull a dude towards you with flame and another one with flame, which admittedly I didn't hate. But it was, you were at the starting, and
Yeah. That's a good
but
point.
I would say, to me, the big thing wasn't necessarily that it was bad. It was that the level design is atrocious in that starting, with temporary walls everywhere for you to hide behind. And it is such a immersion killer to come into an area and see 45 walls between you and the enemy just so you can hide behind it. It's just, I think that gameplay's gone out for years. And if even Gears gets shit on, even the last Gears got shit on for that. And this game, that's all it is. Like, you go to a spot and there's literally just thousands of these, small places for you to hide behind, lean over and shoot, stuff like that, So
Yeah,
it wasn't bad as much as I was hoping for a little bit more. But hey, we'll see. Story's
fingers crossed.
Primo to me. So
All right.
I think Dustin, were you going to ask me something about Moonshine?
Before we get to the news, I had to ask both of you just really quick, because I trust you guys when it comes to video games.
Thank you.
Do I need to play this Valheim game that is tearing up the charts right now?
I know nothing about it. I haven't paid
Neither do
attention to
I.
it.
I've never seen a moment of this game.
And they were just like, hey, Maddie, you're like the only person who's not playing Valheim. And I don't know. I feel like that's par for the course. I don't hop on really any significant trend, just because like when I stream Fall Guys, like that performed far worse than a Dragon Age Inquisition stream. So I'm like, why am I going to waste my time with some of these games that I don't care about? And if they caught fire and they built my audience, like I don't want a Fall Guys audience, for example. So same thing with Valheim. I just survival games don't light my fire too often.
Me neither.
I don't know. I heard it's like a significant shift from what survival games typically do. No?
Dude, I have 20 hours in it. It is purely hyped up due to the Cyberpunk failure. It is purely people responding. Yeah, because people are responding to games that have turned out to be shit. And Valheim is not shit. It is quite well done, but it is quite boringly well done. It is exactly what you would want that you never get from these early access games, which is a stable, polished title. We don't get these in survival games. I've played every survival game on Steam early access, and half of them are shit, right? They're like missing stuff. Valheim is not that. It's just, it doesn't do anything crazy. It's got some boss experiences. I've only done 20 hours, so maybe it magically at hour 21 gets, does something amazing.
If you've put 20 hours, to me, that's a respectable amount of time to give your opinion.
Yeah. I think it is a very solid game that isn't really doing anything spectacular, but gamers have reset themselves. And I think that that's a huge positive. Gamers have, especially with Cyberpunk having come out, even my entire Discord has now a chat section just for pre and post Cyberpunk, because the hype for Cyberpunk and how it delivered allows them to experience games that maybe they wouldn't have been so highly they wouldn't have enjoyed so much, but they realized that like their hype was too much. And with Valheim, it's a good solid EA game that rarely do you see that solidness come out. It's just, if you aren't looking for a survival game, I can see nothing about it that would make you go, oh my God, like I have to play this one. It's good though. It's just not at the level. I've seen a lot of people, oh my God. And I'm all, really, oh my God? Or is it, oh my God, because it's finally shown up without a bunch of bugs, which I'm sorry, survival games are rough on early access usually. And this
I'm an early adopter of the Forest. Yes.
Rust, the Forest, the Raft, right? Rust, the Raft, the Forest. They're all one word, right?
I was going to say, wow, that just, that's strange.
You should try it though. I mean, you might, it's, at least it's not bad. That's the cool thing. It's good at what it does, and better than most at what it does. It's just not a title that would make you say, I want to do survival instead of Dark Souls, I guess is what I was trying to say.
Right, yeah. I'm looking at the Steam charts right now. It's either that for $20 or Honey Pop 2 Double Date for $20. So,
well, I think the jury's out then. I think you're going to have to put that up for a vote, because that's a hard discussion. Or that's a hard discussion.
Do I want to know what Honey Pop is?
Dude, I regularly look at the top Steam charts just to see what is, what the pulse of the PC space is. And this Honey Pop 2 game looks like just fucking like a pervert paradise right here.
Oh.
This shit, it's in the top 10 right now on Steam. So it's
nice.
It looks like an experience.
All right.
I'll say that it looks like something else. I mean, maybe it's great. It's very
Perhaps.
positive reviews.
I know literally nothing about.
Sounds dirty though.
Oh, very. I don't know anything about it either, other than what I'm seeing right now. So maybe I should learn though.
Roll the dice.
Valheim's still up there. You said that's good.
Valheim is number one.
See, and that's the thing is, even though I'm not like in love with it, I still there's nothing wrong. Like to me, that's where it should be because what it's showing is early access the way it should be, which is that it doesn't mean you're going to buy a broken piece of crap. It means that it won't have all the stuff, and I'm okay with that. Like that's the way it should be, and it's nice to see them get rewarded for that. And also, it's the only game I've ever seen where if you chop down trees, that tree will chop down other trees by rolling, which I thought was awesome. So you can kill, like if enemies are coming at you, trolls, if you go up to the top of a hill and they're coming up, you can chop the tree will fall and then roll down and kill like deer. And one time I needed like food, leather, bad guys, like all this stuff. One tree gave me like everything I needed because it just rolls down and kills everybody and all this stuff. And I was like, this is amazing. That was genuinely very fun. But I think I'm also just not probably the fan of survival games I used to be. I want to punch a tree again.
Yes.
You know,
absolutely.
Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Just over and over.
Let's see here. I have been playing 2 games. I finished Fire Emblem finally.
Oh hell yeah!
I finished Blue Lion's playthrough. Second half of the game was much stronger.
Yes.
First half, not good. I hope when the next Fire Emblem comes out, they do not do this university mechanic. They executed it horribly, in my opinion. Especially in the second half of the game, I was just like on autopilot because you get these activity points. I'm not even looking for choice of consequence here, but there's no thought behind. There's not enough activities to supplement you'll get 10 activity points by the end of the game. And so you spend them by training, doing tournaments if you want, which you, by the way, don't really play. You have a student enter the tournament. You can get rewards. You can spend them by fishing and then like eating with your students, which is probably the best way to do it because as you eat with your students and you raise their morale, you can then train them in class and that'll supplement their build. So there's a loop there that makes sense. At first you go, oh, okay, this is good. But eventually by like hour 15, I was doing this. And so 30 hours later, I finished it in 45. You're just constantly going and eating 8 meals with your students, raising everyone's morale, and then waiting to the next day and then giving them XP and fortifying their builds. So I just hope they don't do it again. And if they do decide to do it, they need to add a lot more activities because like the way Persona works, and that's the thing, a lot of companies try to do things. They take Persona's ideas and try to alter them. It's one of the few formulas I look at and say, why don't you just do what they're doing? Just one thing in the daytime, one thing in the evening, call it a day. Make it worthwhile. Give them perks, bonuses, reward them, but don't make it where you got to see everything. And that's what this game tried to do. And when you combine that with running around the campus for everything, you can just fast travel, a million load screens, and the side quests aren't very good at all. What is good is parts of the main story and the combat plus the sound effects, the most iconic sound effects in gaming, in my opinion. I adore them. They're my favorite, not the most iconic. But yeah, I finished that. And so now that that's off my my backlog, I don't know if I'm going to go and play other routes. I've had my fill. I kind of just finished it and had a hankering for what I love about Fire Emblem. And so I might just go back to like Awakening or the Fate series on the DS because what I like about Fire Emblem is the like support system and then having these characters like romance each other and then the kids they have their own stories and kind of building your own unique army. I think that's cool. So yeah, that is the plan. And then I've moved over to Sonic Unleashed. My buddy's a huge Sonic fan. He's a big Sonic fan, and so he's just like, you got to play this game, man. And I thought, fuck it, all right, why not? So it's been an experience, man. It really has been. I kind of regret not live streaming it on my channel because even though it has nothing to do with the content I do, I've been streaming it to my Discord server, and it has been fucking hilarious. Like there are some levels that are really fun and good and entertaining, but because like it has a good locomotion, you're going fast, you know, it rewards your reactions and mastery of the level, and you think, wow, they got something here. And there are some levels that drove me up a wall. I was losing it, man. It was fucking terrible. So a real interesting back and forth. We're almost done with that, though. I have 4 of the continents saved. I'm moving on to my 5th out of 6. So I will probably have this game beat by the weekend. Definitely no idea why I'm doing this, but other than, hey, there's nothing else to play. So
what version did you say you're playing?
I'm playing on Series X, so the 360 back compat. So yeah, the frame rate stuff is pretty much gone. It chugs very subtly every now and then, which is kind of hilarious. But yeah, it's
even the Series X can't handle Sonic Unleashed.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, that's what I have been playing. It's got a great soundtrack though, criminally underrated soundtrack. All right, gentlemen, we have tons of news to get into, so let's dive right in. Let's get started with Anthem next. So for those who have not been caught up, Anthem next was rumored to be getting reviewed by EA. They were looking into it, seeing how far it had come, and then they would make a decision for the future. So lots of opinions are being slung around the industry. Should it stay? Should it go? Should we give them a chance? If it does stay, what happens? If it does go, what happens? We got our answer. BioWare officially announced that they are canceling Anthem next. They are no longer supporting it. They are just leaving the servers on, and that they have said they are going to laser their focus onto the next Dragon Age, Mass Effect games, as well as new updates for Star Wars The Old Republic, which I thought was quite interesting. Then there was a follow-up report by Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg that a lot of people are very happy with, indicating that Dragon Age 4, which is going to be the next game from BioWare after Mass Effect Legendary Edition, has dropped its multiplayer mechanics entirely. Originally, they were creating a game that was schemed to be long-term monetization. It had multiplayer shit in it. And after the failure of Anthem, as well as the major success that was Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, they have said, we are going to make Dragon Age 4 single-player only, which is absolutely music to everyone's ears. What's also interesting that I don't see enough people talking about in this report is that this development has been in flux. It started in 2015, and it's sort of been on and off, shifting visions. You've seen major people from BioWare leave, like Mike Laidlaw, Mark Dara left, and they've been shifting positions constantly because people were apparently internally referring to it as Anthem with Dragons, which is horrible to hear. So now it has moved into single player. And while that's good news, I think reading between the lines, not a convincing report for this game, which I don't think will surprise anybody as much as I want BioWare to be healthy and to do well, as I think many do. This was not encouraging. The only thing that was encouraging is the realization that EA said, hey, these single player games can be profitable for us, and looked at Jedi Fallen Order as one of them, and is acknowledging that maybe BioWare is best with where they acquired them, which was, hey, this is a single-player studio making RPGs. That's what they were when they bought them. They've tried to shift them more and more. We saw Mass Effect 3 get multiplayer. Andromeda had multiplayer. Inquisition had multiplayer. Anthem obviously was a multiplayer game. So this is actually pretty substantial. It'll be their first game by the time it comes out in about a decade that'll have no multiplayer, apparently. So that is something worth discussing. So, gentlemen, from Anthem, which Karak's on there, I think perfectly symbolizes things, to Dragon Age 4. What are you guys making of everything that's transpiring for BioWare? Whoever would like to go first, by all means.
So the thing that's worrisome, okay, so it's great that they're going to go with the full, story-based stuff, because as somebody who got kicked out of Outriders yesterday in the middle of a cool story, I don't want anything that's like connected to the net or service kind of stuff like that. I will say, though, that if they are now saying that they're switching it, they're farther behind than people assume, because that's a pretty big switch to put in your game. And that's one of the things that I did point out, was you can't have it both ways. If you're stating we've decided to make sure that we're not doing this and that, and that's the way we were headed, that to me indicates it's farther out than a lot of people would want, because that is a big change. That is a substantial change. So I don't know. I'm happy about it. I'm not really, and I don't know about you guys, but like Dragon Age to me is like, when it comes out, it comes out. I've never been in love with it, nor have I hated it I did have issues with Inquisition, but I've never like it doesn't polarize my views ever. So to me, it's just more news, and we're like, all right, checks out. That's good. They're looking at other titles, and then I just sort of moved on when it came to my discussion.
Dustin, what about you?
Yeah, so the whole situation around Anthem Next has always been a little confusing to me, especially when we saw Jason Schreier's report that I think he said they had like 15 people working on this, which to me just sounds
30 now.
Oh, 30. Even at 30.
That's a load.
It's
not. Jeez.
It's like they weren't even really serious about Anthem Next to begin with. So why the fuck did they even waste the time? You know, if you're you either do it and do it well and make it successful, or you fucking don't. And so honestly, and I feel I was telling Holly this, my wife, we were like on a dog walk, and I sometimes just tell her about like industry stuff going on because she's curious. I was like, I feel bad for those 30 people that have worked on this for, months. And it's not an uncommon thing in this industry or many others that a lot of times people work on things for many years and then it just never comes out. Yeah. And that doesn't make it any less difficult. But so in reality, though, I think this is a good move. BioWare is at an all-time low right now. They've had not the ultimate fall from grace, but really have had a really rough time for a long time now. And so I think it's good for them to, leave the past behind, put Anthem behind them. They delivered the product. And a lot of people, it's not a Cyberpunk situation or a game or where people didn't get, to my understanding, I never played it, but from my understanding, people that spent $60 at launch, played the game, got a decent amount of time out of it, and a lot of them really enjoyed it. It didn't have the legs that EA wanted, but, So I'm glad that they're leaving it behind. Move on. And I think that they kind of got that point with what you were saying about the fact that they're focusing in on Dragon Age and Mass Effect, and the idea of Dragon Age switching to a single player game. And something that I was thinking now, Maddie, when you were going over a lot of this, is that we've, at least me in particular, I've been very hard on BioWare, but a lot of this is at EA's hand, you have to imagine as well, because as you were saying, trying to get them to be and do the things that they never were when they got bought, right? Like, it was their idea to come in and force them to make Mass Effect Andromeda on Frostbite, right? They had the ICE initiative, which is the initiative for the common engine, right? That completely, I'm not saying that's solely to blame, but that's definitely probably a big part of it. So, and also, I don't know. I'm glad. I hope the initiative is that, all right, what made BioWare great? How do we go back to that?
Yeah. Obviously, I have strong feelings about BioWare too, but from a different standpoint, because I, love a lot of the games that they had made over the years. And, for me, it's one of those things where I made a video about this, and I said that while a lot of people are trying to, cut down BioWare and, they're like, oh, they're worthless now, I think people aren't thinking that extra step ahead of what happens when, let's say, BioWare folds and they are gone. I think that's like a major, major blow to the whole industry, because what happens is you've got like a Greedfall, which sort of puts it all on the table. They're a AA game trying to push into AAA, and not only that, but they wanted to try to fill that void BioWare's leaving. And so what's happening is it's creating this single-player RPG competition, and BioWare's in this very unique, luxurious position where, despite all of these flops, people are still looking and hungry at that to play their games. And so for me, I look at it and think to myself, like, I want them to succeed. And I don't think many don't want them to, but many are saying, like, it's only a matter of time before they get shut down. I just want them to get shut down already. And I think of Visceral Games, a company that EA did shut down, and one that I think is sorely missed. They made some really cool games, some unique experiences. And we don't want to see EA fold this company into Apex Legends, kind of like we saw happen with Paragon, where they said, yep, let's just roll all these developers who are working on this cool third-person MOBA. Is it as big as Fortnite? No, but they took all those devs and rolled them right into Fortnite just to create this like 1,000+ person team. And, I don't think we want that, because then, what's left? EA Originals, EA Sports, and DICE? I don't, I think people are undermining the importance of them. They have to get this right, of course. The only thing I will say is that at least even with Inquisition, as flawed as I think it was, there is a lot of competency there. What they're showing lately is just pure mismanagement. And when it comes to EA, it's interesting because they definitely are pushing the monetization schemes and the long run stuff with BioWare, because they got acquired by EA and then suddenly started doing online shit. It's no coincidence, and that it stayed at that, and that their work, according to Jason Schreier's reports, internally there was a lot of back and forth. So, it's one of those things where I just hope they figure it out eventually. And this is a good step, but it's still relatively concerning to me. Karak, do you have any additional thoughts, by the way?
Not really for this one. I didn't read the original tweet, but I think somebody did send it to me in a DM where I think Jason or somebody was saying that internally there were actually a lot of BioWare developers who wanted a service game. And there were also some EA that didn't want a service game, and how that can be confusing to people. And I think people just need to remember that if you have the term publisher in your title, it doesn't mean you're instantly a bad guy. And if you have the term developer on your title, it doesn't mean you're instantly a good guy. And there's so many nuances here. It's just really cool that they came and they looked at their pattern and were like, that pattern's obviously not working. And to me, that's sort of what I get out of it, is more than anything, is that if EA can look at a pattern and the pattern agrees, which is why we're in agreement. So if their pattern didn't agree, we may not like it, but we're like, oh, it works for them. I do like that this particular pattern of making that game single player fits my pattern that I want, but right. I'm also always ready that it won't. I'm always like, at any point, if it doesn't have to fit that, it won't. I would personally like to see companies go back to expansion type stuff, like Shivering Isles and stuff like that. I would kill to see, we all didn't love Outer Worlds and its DLC. Gorgon, they've got another one coming. Those are a little smaller. There's about 8 or 10, but I would love to see those kind of things continue to come out and even get bigger if they're good. I would kill for that. Far Harbor, how many hours was Far Harbor?
About 20.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
So,
20.
That's a pretty sizable. That is beyond the norm, I think, when you look at current expansions and stuff. So I'm hoping that, if this does well, they'll look at that kind of expansion versus service, versus like microtransactions, but instead look at expansions and stuff.
Yeah, the thing is that it's interesting with EA. I actually missed my original point, so I apologize. But EA gets scapegoated a lot, and it's funny because they showed a lot of patience with Anthem, and I wonder if it's because it just rolled into maybe what some of them wanted, right? Because they waited about 6 years, 7 years for BioWare to figure it out, and then they
did get a lot of chances.
Right. And so it's interesting where I don't think there's a clear-cut bad guy here. I think it's a clear-cut, like, they're making a business move. They've pushed it onto BioWare. BioWare has responded. Some of them do want it. And I get why, because probably as a developer, there's a degree of security when you're a popular service game. There is that that excitement of the evolving thing that everyone's paying attention to. So I totally believe that there are some people internally. I don't think they're all like a one-track mind of like single player, and EA's like, no, I don't. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's the case whatsoever. I think it's very foolish for people to think of it that way. But what's always been interesting to me with this is ever since this whole Dragon Age 4 write-up came out is that a lot of people have sort of ignored the messy development. Kind of like what you said, Karak, at the beginning of all this, that it just really indicates that this game's further off than I thought. They're saying,
me too.
I was thinking 2022. I'm like, no way. If they're now just figuring out we're doing single player only, and they're pulling out all these other things, you're going to either see one of two things. This game comes out in 2022, and you go, you get that feeling something's off here. Right. Something's missing in this section of the game, or this was supposed to be something else. And the reason I think this way is because look at Avengers. there are moments in Avengers you're playing and you think, hey, this is a single player story driven game where you're playing as multiple members of the Avengers squad. And then it introduces this world map and you're like, well, this feels like a whole different fucking game. Yeah. What happened? Right. And so I'm thinking Dragon Age may have that. Like they were going to take the war table from Inquisition, make it this whole online thing. And maybe now that's like their version of what Avengers was doing. And they are going to try to turn that back into something single player. I just think it's disappointing because I thought Inquisition had a lot of good ideas that if you refine them, actually could have been phenomenal. Not that they were so bad. They were just like really holding you down. And so I really am crossing my fingers.
Inquisition needed a little bit more. It would have been nice to have somebody with, would have been nice to have somebody with a little bit of focus. Just a little bit more focus, they might have been able to figure that out.
Yeah, I talked about in a video like a Dragon Age Legendary Edition, kind of as a joke, right? Like, but more speculative, kind of fun. Yeah, like let's see what happens here with this. And I was thinking to myself how imagine if they took Inquisition and they said like let's rework how power balancing works, and completely change how much is dealt out to the player. Because while it's still there, at least it wouldn't be as grindy. Because I guarantee like 10 of my hours were spent just getting power to then go to the next story beat. And instead, if they said, let's give this thing here, instead of it giving you 1 power, it gives you 4. So you can get to that next part quicker. And I would replay the game much more.
I think also I would love to see a remake, because I know you said it was sort of a joke, but I told you I played with the camera mod and it completely changed the way I felt about the game. And the narrative that I took in, I feel the same way when I play a Switch version of a normal game. Like Switch Skyrim on the Switch, I actually paid far more attention to the story ever in the Switch version because it's right in my face. There's no Discord. It's not a 50-inch screen. It's right there. And to me, I'd love to see them adjust the camera a little bit and then maybe have somebody, remove some of the quests in the hinterlands. There were parts of Inquisition that were really fun.
Yeah, exactly. And if they did that with some combat balancing, oh man, like I'd be very pleased. So
yeah, very much so.
We'll see what transpires with that. But for now, unless anyone has any additional thoughts, we can move into our next topic. All right. Next up is a major event for Bethesda that's being rumored. So for those who haven't been paying attention or maybe not listening to a little Defining Duke, which we would appreciate, go ahead, check that out on Last Stand Media's YouTube channel or various platforms like Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts. It's myself, Karak, Xbox-themed show with some PC stuff in there. And this was our major topic for that episode where we talked about how Bethesda has the acquisition of Bethesda from Xbox is proceeding as expected, and that we should have an answer soon as to what's going on with the future of both these companies becoming one. So Jeff Grubb of VentureBeat, who I think is most known, at least on this channel, for his leaking of Mass Effect Legendary Edition and his updates afterwards, said that Bethesda and Xbox will be acknowledging this in a big way, talking about it, letting people know what this means for the future, and has suggested that some type of event will be taking place. And so I've seen a lot of, by the way, YouTube channels and press turn it into a Xbox event. That is not the rumor. It is a Bethesda event. That is the rumor.
That's not... He wasn't really clear, though, about it in what I read.
That's what we talked about in Defining Duke. To me, it sounded just like a dude talking just like we would, saying there's going to be some stuff, I'm sure, where they're going to talk about it, I'm sure. And it's become this, whatever, it's become monster.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so
basically what I'm saying is, though, you can't say that it's just going to be a Bethesda event just as much as we can't say it's going to be a big event.
No, because I think the reality is that the timing of the event would suggest with where Bethesda's deal has, at the latest, Bethesda's deal has to go through by March 5th. And so if the event, whatever event transpires in March is going to be anything, I think it's more likely to be a Bethesda event to celebrate the official acquisition. If they do a whole Xbox event, hey, I'm not going to complain.
Well, why wouldn't they? I mean, Nintendo did a big event. Sony did an event. We'll talk about that. So, I mean, I don't know. I I wouldn't pull from that it's like just a Bethesda event because that's when the deal. I feel like they are waiting to do whatever it is before that because that would clearly be a part of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he said that I can bring up his exact quote, but I know he said he's like just talking about the acquisition in general, that Bethesda's acquisition will be acknowledged in a big way, but not a direct styled event.
I thought he said he didn't know if it would be a direct stop. I don't know. Maybe let's look it up because I
looked it up when we talked about it in the Defining Duke, and to me, it sounded just like us saying there's going to be something because they need to do this stuff. Nothing in that actual original comment indicates knowledge. It just indicates us talking almost like us saying, of course they'll do it. And that's why it goes on to say then it does sort of adjust to like internal knowledge, which some of us, sometimes you'll say this may happen, but then you'll slip up and it sounds like it's going to happen, or vice versa. So maybe that's what it was. But I think the big problem is really that quote and everything about it is sort of par for the course. Of course they'll do something. Like, I don't know why people aren't just like, somebody's going to do something about something. Let's talk about what that something might be instead of his particular quote, because we all know that'll happen. Something will happen. Obviously. Right. That's why I think it'll be not just a Bethesda event. It doesn't make sense to me for Microsoft to be like, let's just celebrate these guys. Well, I mean, look at NXile's there and Obsidian's there. Like, why would you not come out?
I think, yeah. I mean, when I think about it a little more broadly, yeah, I think there is definitely potential for more. Like, is there Wasteland 3 DLC coming? Forza Horizon 5, is that coming? Do they have an update on Avowed ready or Grounded? Obviously, Starfield, you could cap off the show with something like that. Halo Infinite needs to get a re-reveal soon. We're going to be talking about improvements and screenshots later, so maybe that's chugging along. There's definitely, if the game was supposed to release in, November last year, there's definitely enough for them to go in and show stuff. And so, yeah, once again, this is something I would love to be, I wouldn't even say incorrect about, but at the end of the day, like, corrected on, just because I would love to see more of what Xbox is doing. And what's kind of interesting is we've seen Nintendo come out with a big show. I enjoyed their show. State of Play, I was like, on. So I feel like Xbox just has a chance now where if they're not thinking about Beyond Bethesda, they should be now, because I think they have a chance to just take all of the air out of the room from other companies where their conversations are done, right? We now know for a fact they have like shot their load. It's over, right? They are done talking for a little bit until there's more to talk about. Xbox now has everything on the table to come out and talk about stuff. So we can talk about it more broadly than that. I apologize. If it is to be
I never once thought it was you saying it. I thought you were, just so you know, this entire time I thought you were just saying that other people, not you, but that other people.
I'm going based off Jeff's quote, and then
yeah. I never thought it was like you magically waking up and saying it's only going to be Bethesda. In fact, that's exactly the opposite of what I got when we were in Defining Duke talking about it, as in the opposite thought process I had of what you were saying about it. Mm-hmm. I thought this entire time you're basically just saying this is what people are saying, and this is, if those people are right, this is what form it could take. But if we're talking about just our own general feelings, I don't think anybody here thinks just a Bethesda event makes sense, right?
Yeah, if Deathloop and Ghostwire weren't exclusive to PlayStation, then they would have something, right? But you have Starfield and maybe Wolfenstein 3. That's why I thought originally they were just going to do a I totally could see them saying, here's an Xbox Wire post, write-ups from the various studios involved and what this means for their games, and kind of just go from there with like a documentary style video. You see them walking down the hallways of Bethesda Game Studios, and because of Xbox, we're able to make games that we never were before. And it's like,
that's exactly what I was saying in the Defining Duke. That exact idea of that event occurring. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. I feel like that's something that would definitely happen. It's funny. I don't know why this just came to mind, but my friends and I have noticed something. If you go to Phil Spencer's Twitter profile, I found out his favorite word.
What?
It's great. Great.
Great.
Oh.
We got some great games coming up. Just keep waiting. Keep waiting for the great games.
Dude, I was looking at his Twitter profile. Everything is great. Great team, great games, great fans. It's so fucking funny. But anyway, when it comes to things you want to see from Xbox, what are you guys most anticipating? I know there's just a lot of wait and see for this company. So now's a good chance to just put out there, like, what title out of their portfolio would you want to see more of? Also, Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2, I think, is more.
Hellblade would be okay with me, but Forza and Fable, they're the two like big top dogs for me. Sure.
Blinks, the time sweeping cat.
Wow, you're gonna say that with your dog in your lap, man?
Well, I'm a Blinks
Viva
fan.
Pinata 3.
Actually,
oh, gosh.
I was joking. I was trolling about Blinks. I have no affiliation with that cat, that time sweeping cat. I don't know him, but Viva Pinata, I'd be down.
I mean, yeah, I've never played Viva Pinata, so
dude, you've missed out.
I know.
You still could.
I could, right? But
I don't know the fucking soundtrack,
dude.
Man. Filled with fun.
That game's Viva Pinata. The first one is like surprisingly hard in a lot of points. Yeah,
no, they didn't.
It'll crush you.
It was weird. It was like, we're gonna make it look fun or something, but you were trying to breed to get a fire duck or whatever, and you were like, the fuck, everything's going wrong.
Someone will, I think it's like a fox or someone will come fucking eat one of your pinatas. It's devastating.
I think in the first one you have the animals that walk around the side of the park, right?
Did they change that in
2? They've got the
2?
2-person. I cannot remember how your guy. They can die for sure though, because you can hear that and they'll like explode. I just can't remember what it was that was chasing them at the time. It might have been.
Yeah.
I have no idea
what you guys are talking about.
I know, but that's you just sucking on the hind tit of fucking awesomeness, dude.
Oh shit!
You should try it. You'll love it, dude. It's amazing. Viva Pinata holds up today. It holds up today.
Really?
But I mean, Fable. I think we're at that point. I really feel like we're at to see. No, I want to make sure I'm clear. We're at the point where people are tired of not seeing anything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude, I want a new Fable more than anyone. I made so many videos about that when the rumors were swirling. I was so fucking excited, and just every E3, I'm like, where's Fable? Where's Fable? I'm excited to see Playground Games pivot into something potentially bigger and greater than they are. That's to me the more exciting prospect. And getting new eyes and minds on Fable. Yeah, right. That's the other thing. Like
massive.
So yeah, I'm in agreement with that. Yeah, more Fable. I don't know, man. I hope it is a full Xbox event. That'd be really cool if they did something like that.
I feel like it just made so both Sony and Sony and Nintendo, their events kind of detailed like mostly up until E3 and then like a few teasers for stuff that's early next year, which I don't know. Does Xbox have the lineup? Like, do they even, and I don't mean this in a inflammatory way. Do they have anything coming out between now and June to detail?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think anything's close. That's why I'm wondering how big of a trigger they want to pull, because I don't know if anything's close.
Right.
Where Sony's got a couple of titles like Returnal, you've got Ratchet and Clank, and some other cool things in between that are happening, like Final Fantasy's new episode, and that's great. But I don't know. I think Xbox is just, I view them as more slated to just have like 3 big games in the fall and sort of let that be it. Maybe some stuff comes earlier that we don't know about.
Okay, so we're on the same page. What would those 3 titles be? Obviously Halo,
Forza, Starfield.
Is Forza this year? Did they confirm that?
No, I'm speculating.
Oh, okay, speculate. Yeah. I would hope. I would hope then that they have more than just Halo.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's indicated to me that they have stuff ready for this half of the year, unless like Hellblade 2 has been in development for a while, and they revealed that game with the Series X at, I think it was the Game Awards. So that one could come out of nowhere and really surprise people. I think whatever Compulsion Games has been working on, that could surprise people as at least a reveal or an announcement. because they did their last DLC in 2019, I want to say. So for We Happy Few, by the way. So that could be one. There's a lot of stuff that's up in the air where Xbox has a really bad knack for announcing way too early, in my opinion, and I would like them to wait. So if this ends up being only Bethesda, because that is the only thing ready to be talked about, and then in June they're like, here's the full Starfield reveal, so on and so forth. Yeah, that would probably be better, in my opinion.
So I have a question for you guys related to this, because I'm curious what the feeling is about Hellblade 2. Do you guys think Hellblade 2 is going to be like Hellblade 1 in that it's a really good game, but it's like a play it in a weekend and move on type game? Or do you think they're taking Hellblade to a new level?
Hellblade's one of those series that when I saw the sequel trailer and I was looking at the big lands that at least the cinematic trailer was trying to portray, and I was thinking, okay, they're indicating maybe here things are bigger. It's not a franchise that when I was playing it, I felt like it needed to be bigger. And so that's, I'm more than open-minded to seeing what they have to do with this series, because I really loved the original Hellblade. It was a nice surprise. You know, I appreciate what Ninja Theory did, where they were, you know, donating money earned from the game to mental health organizations. I thought that was fantastic, and they really put the game on a lot of people's maps. And so I think that was all really good, but I don't know how much, not Hellblade needs to go beyond it. They should try to strive for more, but what is there? I don't remember this game like tit for tat, but I can't recall when I finished it feeling like there was more there to be told. So that's just my interpretation, where I don't know if they were like, Hellblade 2 is big open world game, I'd sit there and think, well, why? You know?
Sure,
yeah. The only thing I will say is the combat. I would like if the combat was expanded upon a little bit more.
I think there's a way that they can expand upon it without making it, you know, an open world game. I'm just wondering what the scope is, because Hellblade was a $40, I wouldn't call it a budget title, but that was kind of their shtick. It was a AAA game at or AAA quality that was shorter and lower in price, but still, you know, high quality. So I'm wondering just what the goal is with this next project.
20 fine crafted hours or something, and it was more action adventure than open world, I think I would be stoked for that game. But if I heard them say something like open world, that would definitely
work.
I don't think it would
for that game.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? We've seen crazy reinventions from game 1 to game 2. So
this is more speculation, so I apologize. But I just look at Starfield's more than likely going to be open something. I don't know if that'll officially be Xbox exclusive. I think it's
open universe.
Yeah, that's
open galaxy.
Yeah, Todd will hit us with some type of fucking statement like that, and that'll be the new meme. But you know, Forza Horizon's going to be open world. I imagine Fable will be open world to some extent. Halo's really opening it up, maybe not to the extent of open world. So I feel like Hellblade could just be another open world-ish type of game, or I think it would be smart for Microsoft to deviate and try to deliver some more variety and aim for something not less than, but tighter.
I have this feeling, sorry, you made me think of Todd Howard debuting Starfield. I think the word of the event will be seamless, where he'll talk about how you're seamlessly able to go into buildings, which is unlike, you know, the previous Bethesda games, or the ability to seamlessly walk into your ship and fly to another planet or something.
Certainly that'd be good.
That would be awesome. But
Karak,
who knows?
Where's your brain at? I'm sorry, that sounded rude.
Think that no, it's not there. I don't think that Hellblade was planned to be a sequel, and I would assume that Microsoft and, of course, the company had hopes of maybe something happening, and then it did well. And that's why most of us are like, what exactly would that entail? Because it didn't need a sequel, which is fine. Some of the best sequels in the world, I still feel, are pretty like Empire or Star Wars. Like Star Wars, pretty condensed. I mean, beginning, middle, end worked pretty well. And then you have amazing titles afterwards, but it didn't necessarily need one. So I'm not comparing Hellblade. I know somebody's going to be like, oh my God, Star Wars, what? But I don't know what it'll be. I don't really care too much because I have a feeling it most likely will diverge. Like, oh, the main character's dead and this is 10 years later and you're her son or something. You know, like I have no clue how that'll even go out. That's why I didn't mention it, because I liked Hellblade. I thought it was great. I don't care about the sequel until I even know why it's there. Like Forza, I know why that's a sequel. You know, you look at a Forza, you're like, oh, okay, it's more cars.
You play as the car's son.
Yeah, like what are you gonna do? But Hellblade, I'm okay with Hellblade never getting a sequel. I'm absolutely fine with that, and I'm also absolutely fine with those guys moving forward with whatever they want to move forward to. It'll be really cool to see. I think, in all honesty, what I would like to see, though, is them not get rid of the mental health aspect. And I am very nervous that that'll be tangential or it'll get lost in sequelitis, because the entire game was based around that. The entire game. By the way, if you play that game in VR, prepare to fucking, well, first of all, vomit. This is it's pretty heavily VR, but it's also got amazing audio, right? And I don't want to see I don't even know what you call it, an open world game where you're running around with your sword and all that shit's ignored. I mean, we have that already. We have thousands of that. So it doesn't excite me, I guess, of all the games. That one's probably the least exciting.
I'm with you on that, yeah.
Until we see it
and
figure out where they're headed, yeah. I love that character, though. I just like that game.
100%.
Man.
It's so good.
Microsoft, real quick, I do want to say one thing.
Sorry.
I'm hoping we're all wrong. By the way, I want to be flatly wrong. My hope is that Microsoft has one of their like over 300 IPs, I believe, they're sitting on, old and new, and does something with an old IP that we're just not at all, expecting to see. Maybe not Time Blinks or whatever the fucking time spelling cat.
Death or maybe
Death
Blinks.
Or maybe I mean, who knows? Blinks could be awesome, right? It's just a platformer. They could actually do something amazing with that. But I hope they do. I would love it. Microsoft sitting, Sony, Nintendo, they're all sitting on a shit ton of IPs. I think now would be the time to,
go on.
Work those. Look at Compulsion. What are they doing? What if they were doing something with an old IP of Microsoft was like, hey man, we've got an idea.
See, that's a studio that I would love to see them, because they with We Happy
Few, they tried with We Happy Few. You can tell
they did, and you could tell they wanted to make something bigger with that
Grander.
game. It did not need to be a survival game. I think that was put in there with procedural generation just to literally give it some type of length that otherwise would not have been there, or some type of gameplay that otherwise may have been tough for them to do. So I'm really excited to see whatever they're working on, because that is the closest someone has gotten, I feel, to touching what BioShock did, like universally, and it's
and
obviously
the DLC,
it's art style,
Matty, did you check out the DLC?
Mm-mm.
Bro, you should look at the DLC for that game. It actually tells a story from a different I don't want to get too far into it, but that game actually had some really cool parts and some not cool parts. But the DLC took some of the very cool parts and did some interesting stuff with it. They did try. And you're right on the BioShock thing. Like, there was an attempt, right? Almost like an attempt at a survival looking BioShock game. It didn't pan out.
Yeah, dude. I always love the opening hours. Oh yeah.
And you're just
the joy,
fucking charging down the street on the joy. And it's so creepy. It's so it's Orwellian, man. There's something about that's just, I don't like that over the top joy in a movie or a show where somebody's like, hello, my name is John. And you're like, kill him. No one's that happy. Kill him now because he's a bad guy.
Here's what we're getting. Mech Assault 3.
Oh my God, yeah. Can you imagine?
Kung Fu Chaos 2.
We'll never have it. Racist, but I love it.
Fusion Frenzy 2.
Oh, God.
And do you guys remember this game? I've never played it, but I know about it. It's called Whacked.
No.
Dude, I don't remember Whacked.
I remember seeing it at the store. It's kind of like edgy, but this is a Microsoft Game Studios game.
Dude,
It says Game Show Gone Wrong, and it's got this like weird, busty cartoon girl on the front. Yeah, it's called Whacked. Again, never played it, but they're bringing it back. You heard it here first on the Ham Radio Podcast.
Dude, if they did a mech warrior, even though what's his name it doesn't work there anymore. Who owned that rights and stuff?
Dustin, it would be Fusion Frenzy 3. I just double checked.
They did it too?
Oh, they did it too. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Oh, shit.
And if they were like, hey, Amped is our, they're like, Amped is our, let's just go to town now. They were like, Amped is our fucking sports game. Forza,
Crimson Skies,
Mech Warrior, Crimson Skies 2. Imagine, by the way, what's the Japanese anime game that Phil Spencer actually released the upgrade for?
Phantom Dust.
It was Phantom Dust. What if they were just like, hey, man, we're blowing this out? Like just all the, I mean, because the thing is they haven't done that, and I don't think there's any expectations. But if they did, it would be very fun to watch. They might turn out to be shit,
dude.
But it would be really enjoyable.
Microsoft has a dormant
Skies is so.
They have a dormant Mario Party competitor in Fusion Frenzy sitting there. That Fusion Frenzy won.
Competitor is pretty. That's pretty. I'm not a competitor to like fucking The Rock, right?
You are.
I lift weights, but I'm not a competitor to The Rock.
No,
I don't know. I think
you're underselling it.
I think you're overselling.
No, Fusion Frenzy is good, man. That has some great mini games.
I mean, I don't know, man.
I thought of another one. Do you guys remember the game Brute Force?
Yeah, so Brute Force was the Halo killer. I own a signed version of Brute Force. Brute Force is one of the worst games ever made by Xbox. They are like, this will be the Xbox Halo killer, even though they owned Halo. They were like, it'll be the Halo killer. They had 4 characters, and I got that game. Wow, man. That might be why I no longer like do the hype. It got 77.
Yeah,
turn that upside down for LL. For like loser.
It's
because I'm sorry.
Score.
No. I would fight anybody. That game is like a 30% at the absolute highest, man. It is trash. It really is trash.
We love trash.
Dude, they said Mario it was a Halo killer. Come on. You know what? Have me say it's a Halo killer. This is another thing that bothers me about PR, guys. If you're a company, don't tell me your tagline when you're comparing yourself to another company. I fucking hate it.
Skyrim
when I get PR
guns.
And somebody's like, the Dark Souls of fucking drinking games. You're like, Jesus, let me say that. Like, let the person playing the game decide it. Don't tell me you're a Halo killer. Yep. Like, let us decide that as gamers.
All right, well, speculation aside, we should see something next month from Xbox, and then we will have our answer.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Pokemon has made a pretty significant response to feedback. Lots of announcements today as we record this Friday, February 26th. So, there's 2 new Pokemon games that were revealed. One is the Diamond and Pearl remake that had been rumored for a while. I actually tweeted about it like 4 months ago, like, hey, this is coming. And I was like, you know what? I don't want this heat. And I deleted it. So I was just like, all right, now we know it's coming. That's official. The remake is not in the style of a Let's Go, which I thought was pretty nice. It kind of has that chibi art style. Very different, very simplistic. And then there is, more importantly, I think, for people coming in early 2022, the Pokemon open world game called Pokemon Legends Arceus. Now, it's interesting. Both these games take place in the Sinnoh region. With this open world Pokemon game, Legends Arceus, however, this one is like pre-Pokemon League. You're in a village. It's very much feudal, which I thought was a neat take. The trailer had similar panning shots and zooming shots as Breath of the Wild, so we can see where the inspiration is. For a lot of people, myself included, this has been the vision in your head of what Pokemon could be for all these years. The combat even, we don't know if it's going to be the same as what we have seen in the past, but it had more animations, more significant changes. It looked like, hey, this is an actual console Pokemon game. And so with that, I am joyful about this. I don't know if it'll be good. I know people have cranked on the frame rate for the game already. And to that I say, yep.
Come on.
I personally expect this, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude, we have backed Game Freak into such a fucking corner. Like, I'm not going to sympathize or anything, but like, we have backed them into such a fucking corner that when they finally give people what they want, they're like, the frame rate sucks now. I'm like, yeah, it's going to fucking suck.
It's months away.
But not even that,
like, we can shit on them for the frame rate when the game's out. Yeah. But I just don't, I mean, unless it's super, super egregious, I'm just like, well, I don't know. I've seen people in PAX, like they'll preview a game at PAX and they'll be like, well, the frame rate wasn't very good. I'm like, you're playing a game, unless it's out like very soon. Why would you even say that? Like, I don't know. This is a preview. We're getting a little shot
they
of
said
the game.
Early 2022. So that could be even over a year from now in April.
Right.
Which, so there's a lot of time there. I have a lot to say, but I want you guys to go first, of course. What do you think of both these major Pokemon announcements?
First, it's going to be pretty short from me because I don't know a ton about it. But I want to admit, I still see people liking the medium for Xbox, and I don't know who you are or why you exist, but I hate you. I saw Maddie's video just went live, and I clicked on it to see the RPG Mass Effect, and the next one that came up was a suggestion about the medium, watching your review of the medium.
Really?
Completely unconnected, but
I thought there was like a connection here to the like
no
you thought
connection.
Pokemon was boring.
No, you put your video went live. Mm-hmm. I saw it. I clicked on it to save it, and it said other videos, and it showed the medium. And I remembered that somebody out there probably right now is enjoying the medium, and I hate them. I hate them. It just popped up.
Yeah, honestly, if you're enjoying that shit, fuck off. Like,
yeah,
what's wrong with you?
But with this, So here's the thing. I can't tell what this is going to be. I thought it was going to be like Legend of Zelda, the Pokemon game. Does it look like it's possible one of those might look like that? If so, I'm all for it, man.
Openness, sure. Some people were really, and I get them, right? Like I am Mr. Speculation. I love to analyze. I get it, but like some people were going in the trailer. They said you come from a village. That means there's only one village in this game. It's not as open as you think. I'm like, hold up, all right? They verbally have said open world, all right? So, yeah,
gotcha.
it like not they've written it down. They said it's open world with RPG elements. So, hey, that's music to my ears. But yes, on paper right now, it looks to aim to be kind of what you're talking about. Just
then I'd be really happy to play it. I don't want a Pokemon Go. Or whatever that one was. Wasn't that Pokemon Go? Is that the one where you like got out of your car and fucking caused crashes and shit?
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Dude, that game was such a life changer for me. That shit was so fun when it first came out.
It was a life changer for a lot of people. It just wasn't for me. So this looked just the brief one picture I saw. I was like, oh man, if it's like a Zelda, maybe I'll play it. I'm excited about a new Pokemon actually. If it's a true game and not like a bunch of screens with a character jumping for 1/4 of it. Like I want to see, if that makes sense. I want to see a full, true Pokemon game. Almost like Xenoblade / Breath of the Wild. I'll play the hell out of that, man. I would love to play it. I'm definitely into Pokemon if they do it right.
I think that's what's the thing with everybody is for me. I mean, I was like born into it, so I played a fuck ton of Pokemon growing up, but eventually I fell out of love with the series, and then Sun and Moon came out. Sun and Moon were so good. If anyone is feeling, disinterested in Pokemon, that is one of the first games I would suggest to you is check that one out. Check out Pokemon Conquest as well. There are great Pokemon games out there, but then Sword and Shield comes around, and I mean that killed me. I was like, this sucks, because here's the thing: people who watch it for a while, they'll know. If your game sucks for trying things, I will crank on those things that suck, but I will be infinitely harder on you if you are like a Godfall and you are passionately mediocre, because I think that is far, far worse. So when it comes to Pokemon Sword and Shield or Godfall, oh my God, like just so content with being average, it makes me sick. It's interesting because it's intangible, but we all have those games that come to mind where there's a vibe almost. You can feel like an energy to it. Like I'll even say this with Sonic Unleashed, completely random game. But when I'm playing that versus when I played Sonic Forces 3 years ago, in Sonic Unleashed, while it's not that great, there are a lot of things I play and go, like the soundtrack, some of the levels, some of the challenges in there. I think, they tried something here. You could tell they had an idea and they went for it. Whereas with Sonic Forces, they went, go forward. And to me, those are the worst types of games. So, I feel pretty strongly on it, but all I'm saying is that this was enough for me to go, okay, you've got my interest. I'm willing to watch now. Whereas with Sword and Shield, when it was first announced, I remember making a video saying, not quite yet. Not quite yet.
What do you think, Dustin?
Yeah, I'm excited about the Diamond and Pearl remake just because I remember playing those games. And so, I don't know. I don't need them to be anything other than a graphical upgrade. I don't know. It'll just be like a nice, fun little romp for me. So, I'm not overthinking it and I'm not underthinking it. I just know that it looks fun. We'll leave that as is, whatever. If you don't like it, then I don't really care. That's all I have to really say about that. But as far as this new Pokemon, I was initially very excited, and I'm watching this trailer again, and I get like they're trying to hit all the right notes. Like, it's so obvious that they're trying to give people Breath of the Wild vibes from this.
Absolutely.
And maybe, I don't know, that might be their fatal flaw is what they just did. Because
really, okay,
comparison occurs around that.
Right. They even there's even like a shot that is so similar where it's at the very beginning where it like zooms back and you see the mountain and stuff. I'm like, we know what you're fucking trying to do. And if they can pull it off, great. It will be the Pokemon game that we've always wanted, that we've wanted for years. I do not have faith personally in Game Freak. I'm sorry. I don't. I would love for them to prove me wrong. I would desperately would love for them to prove me wrong, but I just do not have faith in them to make this game. And when I'm seeing this trailer, I know it's very far away, but there is, I don't know, this just doesn't.
Dude, it does. I got to say the thing about Breath of the Wild too. Like, not only are they obviously aiming directly for Breath of the Wild, it's like if you continue watching this trailer, which by the way, this is the first time I watched a trailer. I've seen stills up until now. It's like it just feels like Breath of the Wild 3 or 2. Sorry, like I don't know. It's they do aim directly for it. So
the footage of them going around and throwing the Pokeballs,
that's what I'm watching right now,
is weird to me. I get the point, but I'm also thinking, well, isn't the whole point is that you have to battle a Pokemon and like whittle down its health and then try to
capture it?
That's like part of the whole gameplay mechanic. So if you're just running around and throwing Pokeballs at things, doesn't that kind of eliminate part of the point? I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh. I'm just too jaded at this point in my life towards Pokemon. I was thinking about this, and I fucking overall, I don't know. I love Pokemon, but I'm also like somewhat of an ex-Pokemon fan at this point, and it's a very conflicting feeling for me because I feel like I gave Pokemon and Game Freak like the benefit of the doubt over and over. And I know a lot of people liked Sun and Moon, and to be honest, I didn't play those games, so I really can't say anything about them.
They're so good, man. I love them.
See, I played the demo and I was like, this is exactly what I don't want.
I mean, it doesn't fix the gameplay, direction, right? Like the gameplay sucks still, but there's like 3 different storylines that are going from like Team Skull to the Aether Foundation to like your island trials instead of them being a Pokemon League. And it's like different. It's absolutely different, which is what really makes it work. And it's I love it. It's one Pokemon game I'll actually vouch for and say it'll kind of give you a good shot in the arm and say I like this most times.
I don't know.
It's just the gameplay.
My impression of the demo was like, oh my God, can we stop talking constantly? This game is constantly stopping me. And it's the fucking demo, which I understand the demo is the beginning of the game, but maybe I was totally wrong. I don't know. It came at a time that it didn't fit into what I wanted to play, and then it just came and went. So whatever. If you love Sun and Moon and you disagree with me, leave the comment. I won't read it. No, I probably will actually, and then just move on. But I don't. I'm feeling spicy right now. Sorry, maybe I should tone it down.
Oh, it's fine. I think Karak's kind of rubbed off on us a little bit.
Well, no, it's
tell
just
a couple people to fuck themselves. Why not?
I have such this weird relationship with Pokemon. It was my entire fucking world in 2000 and 2001. It was like everything to me. The cards, the games, the show, and then I don't know. It's just it went wrong for me at some point, and it hurts. I'm hurting deeply, guys.
That's okay.
Inside. That's the thing.
Okay. You'll be all right.
No, will it be okay? I don't know.
I think it will be, because I don't know. I'm watching this over. I've watched this trailer now like 4 times in a row here while you guys were talking, and I don't know. For me, I think we're undermining, at least for me personally, and this is pure nostalgia, by the way, but I don't want to undermine the idea of being able to walk around a region in Pokemon in full 3D in an open area and just catch Pokemon and fight. And I'm sure there's more to it, because you'll see at one point you're like crouching down, interacting with one of the Pokemon. So I know there's definitely more than what meets the eye there. And I hope there's activities and puzzles and stuff that you can do on top of that, like maybe based off the Pokemon you have. That'd be awesome. So far, we haven't seen anything indicating that. But I look at what is there, and I think to myself, like, man, I know Breath of the Wild worked for a lot of people. I'm not a huge Zelda fan. I played a decent amount of them. Breath of the Wild was a great game. I played it, beat it, but that was really it. Then you have people like my girlfriend and many others who have sank over 100 hours into it, and they just keep going back, and they just love being in that world. As a huge Pokemon fan, I get that vibe from this. Like, I look at this and go, like, man, I just love the idea of being there, because there's something different from the fixed camera angles and grinding in old Pokemon games versus this, where you're seeing what was originally just like, I mean, think of the Game Boy Color and stuff, man. And then you look at this, like this whole open world, and you can run around and interact. I think that's like, I don't want to undermine that. At the same time, however, if it is just what Sword and Shield was, because they had those wild areas, they called them, where you could walk around in 3D and it was like semi-open. Those fucking sucked. Those were super boring. So there is that chance there. But I guess with open world, while I'm not as big on open worlds as I once was, there is that alluring factor of, hey, I can get lost in this. I can wander a little bit. I can have a sense of discovery. Whereas the wild areas were very cut and dry. It was like, here's your battles. Here's those Gigantamax fights that you can do. And that was literally it. That was just it. So just in defense of Pokemon and for a little optimism, I like what I see here. Does it look like it runs well? No. But I kind of like also the unestablished nature of the game. Like the fact that there aren't 1,000,001 towns I'm seeing, and that routes are populated by trainers. This could just, I mean, you don't really see any other NPCs. You just see Pokemon and one trainer. So I'm really excited to see what comes out of this, because I think there is a lot of potential here. Which, not that you guys were saying that wasn't the case. I just look at it and go like, man, I see separating my 1,000,001 ideas that come into my head. Just what I see, I like. And so I'm hoping for the best on that. With Diamond and Pearl Remake, there has been a lot of debate online with the graphical style of that, because what's happened is, funny enough, Zelda comparisons continuing over. People are looking at Link's Awakening and its art style and its level of detail, which is definitely there. I'll give them that. I wasn't as big on the remake for Link's Awakening as I had hoped to be. But then you look at Diamond and Pearl's remakes, which are simplistic. I don't know if you guys have any pictures that you can take a look at it, but they're there. And I don't know. I'm not as up in arms about this. And I'm the first to, like I said, when Sword and Shield got revealed, people can go double check me. There's a video up of me telling people why I was not convinced. And so I'll be the first to say something about it, but I didn't really understand what was the big deal here, because it didn't look bad. It didn't look lazy to me. It looked simplistic, which I think is an art style that people often mistake. Like, you could look at KOTOR, which granted 2003, but you could look at KOTOR and say that it's bland, but I think it's got a decidedly simplistic art style. And so what do you guys make of some of the debates going around? Even if you don't see the comparisons, like, you just don't care.
It looks fine.
It looks fine. Yeah, I think that it seems like we're just digging into this one. There's not much else to say until we see more. At least for me, I don't have any.
Yeah, I don't want to make a conversation if there's not one there. Just more so like, I saw it enough for it to be trending on Twitter. I was like, all right, we'll give this a little oxygen here. We'll pump some thoughts into it. But if you guys have nothing, then that's good, I guess.
No,
on that particular part, I have nothing.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say is just that I don't understand why. I don't know. I don't think it looks like the Zelda remake that came out a year or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it has chibi characters doesn't mean it looks like that game. Like, it doesn't have the bokeh effect or the toy-like effect of that game at all. So I don't understand where that comparison is coming from, but it looks like exactly what it needs to be for this remake. So
I agree, Dustin. All right. That's all for Pokemon. Let's shift on over into the Xbox region of things again, where we've got Halo Infinite. So there was a waypoint posted. Karak, I thought timing was on our side for defining Duke. Looks like it's not, but we'll have to get to that then next week for that show. But let's talk a little bit about these improvements. So some screenshots have come out from this Halo waypoint post, which have showcased that Infinite has made some substantial graphical improvements, like big time. So if you look at some old photos from the initial reveal of Halo Infinite and some of the gun models, you can see, which we have already seen, like photos of the armor, for example, for multiplayer. And we could see already there was a more metallic look to things, and that is carried over into the weapon models. We can see the sniper rifle has that. You can see I think they're calling it Zeta Halo. You can see the ring there, and it very, very much is tapping into Combat Evolved. So for me, Combat Evolved is my favorite. I absolutely adore that game through and through. I've played it so many times, and there's something that just tickles me nostalgically about it that I can never really put my finger on when it comes to its openness, yet being very linear. You can see the ideas there. And now seeing those ideas come into reality here with Halo Infinite, I'm actually pumped. I do want to see this in motion, see what the improvements look like in actual gameplay. But right now, I'm very excited. How about you, gentlemen? Convinced yet or not?
No.
I respect it.
And I'm reading something here, which is just the biggest full of shit thing I've ever seen in my entire life, which states, these images make me think that it's a brand new game. They're so good. Fuck off.
No,
fuck
them.
You're a liar. You're a liar. They're not. And this is the problem that
was
we
this just
see
a
with
comment,
hype.
or was this like a news
it's
article?
the news. It's actually a news article from a major website. Yeah.
No.
Just sorry. You're full of shit. You're just a liar.
Yeah, that's stupid. That's dumb. But do you think it looks better, Karak?
Okay. Yeah. Do I think it looks like a next-gen Halo should look? Not even close.
Interesting. What does that look like in your head, if you don't mind me asking?
It looks like Killzone with PS4 when Killzone came out, where people are like, oh my God, look at this fucking game.
Gotcha.
Halo should look like that, even if it's just artistically. It doesn't have to look like that with the reflections and all that stuff. It doesn't have to be ray traced. I don't need those kind of things. What I do need is a competent title that is supposed to hold up where Halo holds up in the library of Microsoft titles. Where Forza holds up. I think Forza holds up completely fine as the premier racer on Xbox titles. Halo does not hold up as a shooter that looks better than, let's say, a third-party shooter could look. That game looks like a crappy third-party company made it. Sorry. It doesn't look good. And if you lie to yourself and say it looks good, that's on you. But that does not look like a current... It looks better, but it doesn't look like a current Microsoft owns this IP and it's their number one IP game. It doesn't. Doesn't even look in the realm
this
of
doesn't excuse it by any means. So I don't think Halo is their number one IP anymore. I think that's like a spot
maybe
that's been
Gears.
lost.
Yeah.
I think Gears is probably it now, but I think Halo has the most like claim to fame. But I don't think that's not to delegitimize what you said. Just more so like I don't think even Xbox views it as the number one. They understand
think that they didn't do a good job showing us screenshots that would be able to argue your point. Your point is valid because they didn't back it up with these new screenshots that looked good enough to maybe us even discuss it. Gears, yeah. I mean, I would agree. In fact, I think Gears with destruction and stuff, something Halo has notoriously not done. Gears with its destruction, even small parts or in cutscenes, is just better graphically. I've been really disappointed, like with them since Master Chief shit collection. Like that's I don't know, man. Like as a company, if this was my IP and it was a premiere, not the premiere maybe, but if it was a premiere Microsoft title, I would be furious. I would be in the same way I was furious with Unity from Assassin's Creed. That was supposed to be an amazing Assassin's Creed, and that was dog shit and should not have been released. So
yeah,
it's unfortunate. I want this game to be awesome. I really do.
For sure.
I think
Dustin, what about you?
The thing to keep in mind, I don't know, again, maybe this is me just getting jaded at this point in my life, but screenshots are cool and they can give you a look into an idea of what a game looks like. But when they're trying to put out these screenshots and say, look at how much better the game looks, I need to see what it looks like in motion, because games in motion look way different than screenshots. So, I mean, I see these screenshots, I think, cool. This looks decent and potentially better than what came before. But again, like I said, until we see it in motion, I don't know. Does that lend any credence to you guys as far as screenshots versus...
I don't care about screenshots. Screenshots can be faked.
Yeah. Right. The old term, the bullshot.
Bullshot.
Yeah. So... I'm not saying, and I wouldn't even say that it's one of those situations like I feel like after all they've been through, it would be very unwise of them to fake any kind of screenshot.
Well, and we should also point out, if that's their version of a bullshot, they should all be fired.
Yeah.
That looks like shit. If your idea of making something look awesome is that shit, quit your job, go fucking just walk the world like Cain, because that's dog shit. As a bullshot. We've seen bullshots. Remember bullshots for like the PS2 would look like a PS4 game? And you'd be like, dude, it's not fucking real. Like, we all knew it wasn't real. So they haven't elevated the game at all. We need to see it moving. Yeah, for sure. It needs to be moving. Sorry, man. I have a sore spot for Halo. I get it.
I think
need to be put under thumb.
I get it. I think just what I'm seeing, that blending of a sci-fi and I don't know, like they managed to make the Halo ring or the Zeta Halo ring look like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you can buy into it, and I don't know. Like, I'm looking at some of these screenshots again, and are you guys arguing like it hasn't improved?
No, I'm arguing that we don't know what the fuck is actually going on because it's a screenshot versus the game we actually saw, which looked like dog shit.
I was making sure I understood properly, because I was looking again and I was like, hold on, guys. I was like, hold on, this does look better.
Well, okay,
you can fake a 3D color change to the day. Like, sorry. Anyway.
One important thing, too, that is really worth looking into, Digital Foundry did a great video about this, is that part of the reason why that trailer looks so bad, not excusing it, but explaining it again, is it uses a dynamic lighting system, and they did the demo at dusk, which was a horrible decision, because
the worst time to ever do it.
And notice in their main screenshot here, where they have the same scene only at different times of day, they show one at day and like one at like practically dark but not fully dark. The ones that are more dusk are the smaller screenshots.
Yeah.
And you can see when you zoom in that they kind of have that washed out look that the original trailer had. So I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into that too much. But again, yeah, I don't know.
It's definitely worth noting.
Yeah. So we're probably way over time on the same point. But we want gameplay.
Oh, for sure.
To prove
hopefully next month.
This looks promising. Maybe. I don't know. I want them to do it right. I think Karak and I are on like the exact same page. I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, I've been fighting my own battles out here for the last two subjects. This is tough, man.
Well, I'm not quite with Karak. Like, I think these screenshots look fine. They're not the best. They're not the worst. But they don't prove anything to me. Which is, I mean, it doesn't tell you if the story
or the gameplay are going to be good, of course. But I'm just saying, when you look at it, like, I think it looks really good. I think they have a shot here at dusk, actually, a full size screenshot. This one doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, that one I saw that and I thought, yeah, it's decent. But again, like, I could take a picture of myself where I look like real thin and ripped if it's the right
The
angle,
glamour
and the right lighting.
shot of Halo shots.
Yeah, I'm just saying it could be, but it could not be. I don't know. Again, we can they can prove that with a video.
Curious to see how the gameplay goes, because they said in the same post that the grapple shot allowed for more exploration. So, you could like change your approach to how they said you take over a fortress. And I was like, oh boy, are they going to have like fucking Far Cry camps in Halo?
Dude, these guys have no clue what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's so far beyond. Hey, I don't even know what they're doing now. Let them do it, by the way. I'm not saying they should stop, but it feels like they have no clue what they're making. It feels like they're looking at Uncharted or something. Like, I have no clue what these guys want. Instead, just make a fucking Halo game. But whatever we're getting now is this conglomeration of fucking random things. And it's at least so far, it's not doing it for me.
Interesting. Because, I feel like I don't know if it's huge random changes in my eyes. I feel like it looks like Halo 1 if there wasn't technology that was...
Halo 1 didn't have a grapple gun to explore.
Yeah, of course. I'm more so saying with Halo 1, though, that there was a clear openness in my eyes to that game.
True.
And so the grapple gun could have fit in. But
to me, the exploration in Halo is about the exploration of the battle moments.
Mm-hmm.
The exploration of the AI against me, not the exploration of me trying to find a skull. And that's another thing, is like, maybe it's past me, because I know a lot of people love playing Halo for 60,000 hours so they could glitch out of a wall one single time. I'm
like
just not OCD like that, and I get it because some people do. They love that, like, to find a skull or something. So it just may be past my time. 3 is what I was hoping for. I don't know what's coming.
We will see. Time shall tell. For now, let's move into State of Play. So Sony had another one of these things. I don't know if it was quite the banger people were hoping for, but we got some updates on games like Returnal. We got updates on Crash Bandicoot, Knockout City. Let's see here. What else we got? Sifu, a little kung fu game from the developers at Absolver. Solar Ash. There's a new Five Nights at Freddy's trailer. Oddworld Soulstorm is a PS Plus release in April, and that game looks phenomenal. That was my favorite game of the show. There was Kena, Bridge of Spirits. I think it's Kena, right? Or is it Kenna?
I think it's Kenna.
I think it's Kenna.
Oh, apologies. Kenna. We got a new Deathloop trailer, and Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade was announced, which is a whole fucking thing of its own. So, gentlemen, how did this show do for you? Were you happy with anything you saw there? Dustin, I'm sure you're probably like gonna struggle to say anything original for yourself here because you had a 4-hour conversation about it.
Oh yeah.
Well, okay, I'll take my favorite point that I made during Sacred Symbols, and then I'll let you guys have at it. Here's the thing. Here's the thought. Okay, I had a class many years ago that I was in school for when I went to community college for English. There's this communication theory that the medium is the message. That's what it's called. There's like a guy that came up with this theory. And the idea is the medium in which you communicate something is also can be not just as important, but also very important to the message itself. Right? Mm-hmm. And so there's a disconnect happening between the audience of people that watch these events and the people that are putting them on, because people's expectations are completely different than what's actually happening. And I don't know who's really at fault, whether it's the consumer or the people putting them on, because in one sense, it's like they're saying, hey, we're putting on an event, the State of Play, the Nintendo Direct. We're asking you to come join us because we've got stuff to show. And so, yeah, that creates an expectation of a demand of attention that is beyond passive, because they want you to actively watch along. So that's just what I've been thinking about a lot lately, is that we've seen with the Nintendo Direct and the PlayStation State of Play, and even with other stuff throughout, like last summer with the summer events, whether it was Ubisoft doing their events or even the Resident Evil event, that it's like people kind of like, well, why did you gather us for this, right? So I think especially, and Colin said this in Sacred Symbols, is that State of Play feels much more like a marketing. I mean, it's all marketing, right? But it very much feels like, hey, Activision is having us talk about Crash, even though we've already announced it and we already told everybody in a PlayStation blog. Like,
man,
I don't know. They've shown Oddworld. This is like the third or fourth time we've seen it at an event like this. It's like, what really else is there to say? I mean, this time it was the release date, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But
they showed that game has a lot more to it than I expected. Like the ways you can play, that shit surprised me.
So
yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. I don't want to talk too long here, but
did you notice
what I've been thinking about?
Did you notice in the Crash 5 trailer in the beginning when they were talking about the haptic feedback and they were like, you can feel Crash's jump, and then at one point they said feel the suck, and I was like, what?
Yeah, Chris brought that up.
I was like,
I think every Twitter I saw brought that up.
See, I didn't see it afterwards. I thought everyone had a mature moment collectively, and I was the idiot who was like, feel the suck. Like, damn, bro.
I do like the screen real quick, just in relation to feel the suck on the PlayStation, where Final Fantasy VII, it was like graphics on PlayStation 5. That's all it said on screen for a second. I knew what they meant, but I just thought it was funny. Graphics.
Yeah. I saw someone tweet out, they were like, holy shit, PlayStation 5 has graphics.
That's right. Yeah.
Karak, I mean, you probably have stronger thoughts than I. Would you care to speak a little bit about State of Play? Maybe you don't. I shouldn't assume.
They're about. I mean, you can blame. PR is for sure at fault for the games that they play and all that stuff, and the hints and not hints and blah blah blah. And then gamers are at play for constantly thinking everything's a hint. And so one of the things I told people is to calm down on the Phil Spencer picture, because at some point Phil's gonna have to put the stuff that's not there as being the message. So I have to put like Halo 1 through 5 missing 2 if they're doing a 2 remake, because if he puts 2, people will know it's a 2 remake because everybody's looking for it. So we've degenerated now to this weird part of PR. Like, I did a thing on my Reddit like 2 days prior, and I was like, guys, just calm down, because I had been told about some stuff, and I sort of hinted about the PlayStation or the Final Fantasy stuff the night before on Twitter about the cycle beginning, and knew that's cool, but like overall there wasn't anything there. And that's okay, because those people who are making those games, they're interested in them. They're not AAA games, but I can tell you House Marquee is very happy that Returnal got to be at the State of Play, right? So I'm very excited for that. I just think that we need to also buy off on the fact we're easy marks, man, or gamers are easy marks, and they shouldn't be easy marks. It's like wrestling, where they believe everything and they think everything's a thing. Sometimes it's not. And we're seeing with Nintendo, people came out of that. It was like an abusive relationship, man. They're like, it's going to be great. Nothing. Sony, it's going to be great. Nothing. People are thinking the Microsoft one will be massive, because if it's not, we'll be in the same boat. I think Microsoft with Bethesda, that makes more sense. But if let's say this wasn't coming together and Microsoft announced one, I would also tell people to calm down. It's okay. Like, I was trying to tell people to be excited for what we're seeing, not excited for like some new ARG augmented reality game, like I Love Bees for Halo. It's like, instead, why aren't you just happy we got to see, which was awesome, but we got to see Returnal, which to me, awesome. We got to see that. That's great. There's no way you can't oversell it, because we, as an industry now, overbuy. Like, for example, I don't know if you guys saw, but Corey Balrog, whatever the fuck his name is, from God of War, he said something like, I didn't even know this was a thing. I didn't even know they were doing one. So let's see what like scrappy little Sony could do. Whether you believe he didn't know or he truly didn't know, people then thought God of War 2 was being announced.
Yeah.
Right? So you can't win for losing.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Still good games being shown, by the way. I want to make sure that's clear.
Yeah.
those that were shown, Kona or Kina or whatever her name, that fucking animation is next
Looks
level
beautiful.
in some place. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, and they were showing it in slow motion, which, by the way, a lot of companies will do the quick cuts because they don't want to show the fatty doing the martial arts like Steven Seagal movie. We're like, quick cut that shit so he doesn't look like a double-ard. What was going on with that game is they were like slow motion for huge lengths of time. It looked so good, man. So good.
It was like
really
a Pixar movie in motion, man. Like,
Oh.
it really was. It was
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful. I believe they have like a full animation background too. That studio. That was one of the
Oh,
things they
that
were
would make
touting.
sense. Because, dude, her hair was bobbing, and it looked like Phoenix if Phoenix was smaller, Phoenix Rising, if it was a smaller world but more dense. And
Yeah.
I'm okay with both. In fact, because I love Phoenix. This won't stop me from liking Phoenix Rising. But, man, they've got a lot that felt like in some way connected between two of them. Oh, so good.
Yeah, that game looks phenomenal. I'm very excited to play that one. That's coming in August.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with what you were saying about some of these events. I think there's a case-by-case thing, right? I think the hype for, say, the Nintendo Direct was legitimate and allowed because not that Nintendo overhyped or that even people overbought. It's more so that Nintendo's extensive silence on, hey, we have not done a actual Direct in over 500 days. And then even if you have not bit off a lot there, Nintendo openly acknowledges at the start of the show, we have a lot to show you. We have not done one of these in a very long while. So with something like that, I think the people were in the right with their anticipation because Nintendo themselves displayed they knew. Whereas with State of Play, PlayStation just, I mean, there's only so much they can say before they say, please don't be excited, which they're never going to. But when PlayStation's like, it's going to be a half hour, we're giving you updates on current PS4 and PS5 games.
They were
There
pretty
will
clear.
be a couple of new announcements. I mean, yeah, for me, I walked away, I was like, that was all right. And that was it. It wasn't because I was disappointed or excited and it got let down. It's just they were very clear, like, this is what's happening. And so, yeah, if Xbox were to come out and say, hey, we're doing this event, it's about the future of Bethesda, it'd be about 20 minutes. And just setting expectations in a way of information, not of please be excited, please don't be excited. That's where I sit on it. But you bring up a good point of the overbuying of a lot of people within our industry. And I think Nintendo Directs get it the worst, admittedly. I mean, we were seeing Metroid rumors, Zelda collection. I mean, the list goes on. I don't got to say it, man. Like there was a stupid list of stuff.
One, I think that also, Matty, is another thing. I'm okay, whether it's the consumer, they're both at fault, us at times and companies at times, for sure. What I was saying is also when you get like a Final Fantasy, like I had heard, people were like, oh, dude, this is going to blow up, right? That's what I was hearing. Oh, this is going to blow up. And I'm like, I don't know if it will because Final Fantasy Remake didn't blow up the way a lot of people thought. I mean, the honest truth is, I think they were saying it sold 4 million and it's gone up from there, but it wasn't like the numbers, I think, that I would assume maybe they thought
it would
were
have been 10 mil
originally.
plus.
Well, it might be now, but I remember when they announced the numbers, I wasn't like, oh, holy shit. I was more like, oh, interesting. But sometimes they believe different things too. Like the company seems to believe something's big, and you see it and you're like, what the fuck are we seeing? And why are we saying, like, how did they all mess up? How did the miscommunication happen? Like, how do they not know people want to see a Metroid? Like, just show it at some point.
Yeah, in August, they said 5 million copies of 7 Remake were sold. August 7th, 2020. That's a good amount. Don't get me wrong, but
it is. It's just not for some reason. And it's not the zeitgeist that I thought it was going to be. I thought we'd still be talking about it. I thought it would win a ton of awards. None of those things happened. Again, no dissing on that. What I'm saying is the people talking about this new DLC, I think, were thinking the reaction would be far stronger. That's just my, people thought that.
And I was happy to see like the Yuffie episode get announced.
Me too.
I love Yuffie. That's cool.
PS5 only sucks.
Yeah, that's weird, man. That's the way they're doing that is super weird because what's happening is they have the Yuffie DLC exclusive to PS5. You can buy the PS5 version separately. If you have the PS4 version, you can upgrade to PS5 for free. And so I don't know if that comes with the Yuffie episode or not. It doesn't. So
it doesn't.
What the?
And
I don't know.
to add another foil, they're giving away Final Fantasy VII Remake for free on PlayStation Plus, but it will not be able to be upgraded to the PS5 version.
Wow.
Which, by the way, if this was another company, I just personally believe they'd be attacked. But whatever, these guys with Final Fantasy, Square gets away with it. But dude,
wow.
Can you imagine just saying your digital version of this won't be able to be upgraded? Like, that seems...
Let's ask Control in 505 Games. See what they have to say.
Yeah, remember that shit?
Like, holy
Remember
fuck,
that?
man. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
isn't that
worse than
weird?
anything, Dustin. Holy
I know.
shit.
I know. It's such an
It's-
odd thing because you don't expect to hear that.
Dude, what? Like, I can't wrap my head around that.
So my question is there going to be a paid upgrade path for people that get it on PlayStation Plus?
Oh, you bet. They are not
I would
giving it away
no, that
just
would be
'cause
a good thing, because those people, at least well, not a good thing. It should be free. But if you have it on PlayStation Plus, then there should, at the very least, there should be an option to pay to upgrade and not have to buy the whole fucking game again in order to play the Yuffie DLC.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Do you know what I mean?
I don't blame them for charging for the Yuffie DLC. I don't think that's wrong. I'm very worried though, because when I saw episode Yuffie, I went, oh no. I just thought of Final Fantasy 15 right away, how they did episode Gladiolus and episode so on and so forth, and I went, oh god, like, dude. And then they just
Not
randomly canned it, and they went, yep, this game actually was not profitable. It did not sell as much as we wanted it to, and so we're not doing it anymore. And they just left the DLC as was. And the thing is, you would never have gotten that interpretation with the amount of Final Fantasy 15 promotion and modes and things they were adding to the game. And what would actually be a good marker for us, I'm going to look it up right now, is what the Final Fantasy 15 sales numbers actually are. Now, granted, this is multi-platform. This one sold 8.9 million copies as of December 23rd, 2019 on all platforms since its release in 2016. So we're not accounting for the Sony bucks here that are clearly in the pocket of Square Enix, from the timed exclusivity to the exclusive DLC to now a PS Plus game. There's money changing hands here for sure. But something worth looking out for. Similar pattern here. And I wouldn't be surprised if they put an upgrade path, because then Square is getting money from you either way. Whether you buy it from, let's say you buy it on PS5 or you buy the upgrade with some of the DLC there. They are taking your cash either way. And part of me gets why. Like I said, I believe certain things should be free, like the actual visual upgrades. But if Yuffie is like an actual couple of hours, yeah, they should be asking for your money on that, in my opinion. Was there anything else you guys really liked from this show? Because if you guys wouldn't mind, I'd like to talk a little Oddworld Soulstorm.
Go for it.
I dug the fuck out of this, man. I thought this trailer looked really good, because Oddworld's a series I've always been pretty nostalgic of, due to, I think really, I always thank KOTOR for it, but I really think Oddworld was one of the first games I played. It was the first game I played, rather, that had a choice and consequence system. So there was the Kwarma, and you could, if you didn't like help the scrubs out and you didn't help free the fuzzles, your karma would go down. And when that happened, you'd get like the bad ending. And if you like skipped certain conversations, the guy would call you an asshole, and like you'd get a bad ending over time if you kept pushing it that way. And depending on how much you saved or didn't save, would determine how the game would play out. And seeing Oddworld Soulstorm develop that a little bit more, but more importantly, what happened is in those old Oddworld games, you'd like lean on all of the Mudokons you'd be recruiting and stuff to do your dirty work. And Abe himself was very weak and vulnerable, which is fine, but you could literally do nothing. So if you got caught with your pants down, you were fucked. Whereas in Soulstorm, you could actually make his face. You could actually make, you could craft items and you could use them against the sligs, and the ways that you could sneak about the level and hide in lockers and use environmental effects to hide. And I thought there was more gameplay here that showcased that there's a little more, not to the point where Abe is this godlike character, but that he can actually do things. That's the thing. I don't need him to fight back. Part of the charm of Oddworld, I think, is that vulnerable feeling. But no one wants to just be left there without any tools unless it's a freaking horror game. And so I think Soulstorm has the right idea here. I think they're doing the right things. For those who are curious about more, there's trailers out there, but it's coming to PS Plus in April. And good for that team because Oddworld and Heaven has a struggle to get this game out. This has been talked about for a while, so I'm happy they got a date on it. Seems to be good to go.
I personally, just looking at it, I think it looked pretty cool. They were talking about all the different, there's like 10,000 of these guys or whatever. I can't remember, but I'm a little bit more on the belief of I would rather have him be helpless, but I get where you're coming from for sure. Just because I think at the time I liked that he was. Maybe there's more games that occurs now, so it's not as big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the thing that I always feel like those guys have $2 and they need $5, and I'm not saying I'm done supporting them, that company, but sometimes it feels like they don't know how to spend their money or something, or they undershoot what they need and what he should do. What's his name? It's not Lanning. Lord Lanning. What I'm wondering, because he's always trying to go in under budget, and he talks about finances a lot. Like every title, I always hear something about, like skimming or being difficult or whatever, money wise. And it's like, sometimes I wish they would get the full money to see what they could do. It's like, every bad decision that's ever come up for that company, I always hear him talking about bad decisions. Microsoft money. Oh, we needed this, so we did this, or we needed that. And it's just like, you're just like, dude, I wish you would just get the money so we could see what you could actually do. Because this game at times looked awesome. And there were other times where it looked as if it was made in a level editor. There were very particular times where I was like, man, that doesn't look as good as this other part. Again, it's not early, but it's not done.
Yeah, there is certainly early snippets of gameplay where there was a lot of like worry, because I remember, I don't know when they first revealed the gameplay, but there's a lot of flashing lights, and Oddworld, especially the older games like this one's modeled off of as an Abe's Exodus remake, are darker for sure. And not only that, but it actually like lighting and the atmosphere it creates, like it's supposed to be a darker game, and there was like flashing lights and it was neon and there was a lot of color and a lot going on there. And so there was initial community worries, and it looks like they've toned that down, and they've teamed up with Epic for an Epic Game Store exclusive release. They've teamed up with PlayStation. So part of me is curious. I wonder if with all these deals they've signed, they actually did get the money, because we saw, at least with Control, the money Epic paid for that to be exclusive. So not that they're getting nearly that much, but I wouldn't be surprised if they suddenly got a couple of million in their pocket and were able to do much more between those two companies now. And I think we are maybe seeing in this final product what happens when they have the cash. But obviously I would like to see them start.
There you go. That's exactly, start with that cash versus maybe later. Yeah. Because I love all their games. I don't think they made a bad game. And Stranger's Wrath is, by the way, didn't age the greatest on PC and Xbox. On the Switch version, I was pretty okay with it. But I love that world. I love the world. And I think their art is amazing. It's just sometimes even in their cutscenes, I'm like, their cutscenes look so good. And then you sort of get into some of their gameplay and you're like, it looks so the same. It never looks like it's, and I don't know, I've always wondered about their financial, if that's a financial thing or whatever. But I mean, he's obviously happy. This is like the fifth game of his he's been able to make, right? How many of these games are there? It's got to be the fifth game. I mean, if you add in ports, obviously.
Yeah. He's done this, New and Tasty, Munch's Odyssey, Stranger's Wrath, Exodus, and whatever New and Tasty was built off of. The name escapes me. The first Oddworld game that was on PS1.
Just Abe's Odyssey.
I think it was Abe's Odyssey. Yeah,
I think it was. That's like 1 and 2 are where I got into it. Yeah, it's awesome, man. I can't wait to see. Kona or Kino or whatever, that one looks a certain level because it feels like there's a certain level of finance. And here, I was like, just a little bit more would be nice to see what they can do. Because some of the levels, lighting and stuff looked a little like almost like baked in versus dynamic, which we're seeing in a lot of games now. But it'll be cool to see. What are they going to sell it at? 30? Probably. It's not going to be a $60 game either. I mean, I would assume
probably 30, 40.
30 or 40. So people have to come to, understand.
I'll double check that for us.
I would assume 40. I mean, again, I'm not anti-60. I'm just knowing them. I'm assuming.
Let me see. Oddworld Soulstorm pre-order on PlayStation. Of course, they're not going to give it to me, are they? Nope, they're not going to. I'm trying to find like a store.
Is it only PlayStation as well?
Yeah, I think console exclusive on PlayStation and then on PC.
49
exclusive.
49. Interesting, because
on
with the Epic money, you would have. Ooh, interesting. I would have not. Well, you know what? Again, it could be huge too. As long as a game backs up 49 or 59, I'm okay with it. So it's just when I look at it, I can't tell. It looks like it may not, but and especially with Epic, who knows what they. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Epic wouldn't have paid a bunch for that exclusive. Epic pays what exclusives are worth. So
yeah, I'm sure it was like $1 million or something like that.
It would be cool to see if this comes to Switch as well or Xbox Game Pass. Man, I personally just think Game Pass would have been awesome for them. But
yeah, I wonder what that looks like. I know it's hard for us to get our hands on it,
bro.
But yeah, it's possible. I wonder what the financials of all these are, because there's a game I've had my eye on. It's called, I think, She Dreams Elsewhere. It's like a RPG Maker game, and it's going on Game Pass day one. And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder how much something like that gets, or did this person? I think it's a girl. Yeah, how much did she get with that deal versus maybe what if it was a PS Plus game, or like I wish I knew what the numbers were like for some of these studios. Obviously, the bigger game is like, I'm sure Final Fantasy VII Remake got millions of dollars to say, hey, we're going to give this out for free for a month. And thousands of people are going to redeem it for free. For sure. But I do just wonder sometimes with these indie splits, what they're getting, and what, like, would Oddworld have benefited if it went on and took a Game Pass deal and then hope that the added exposure there.
How do you not look at Oddworld and think that isn't worthy of a Ratchet and Clank huge massive game? Is what I'm saying.
I agree.
How does Microsoft or Sony not look and go, oh, Oddworld, let's make Stranger's Wrath 2, but let's make it like Beyond Good and Evil 2, where it's going to be massive, or it's going to be like Biomutant. And instead, we still get the maybe that's his what do you call it as well? Maybe that's his bailiwick. Maybe that's his skill. But I think Stranger's Wrath worked fine, and it was a third-person shooter, third and first, actually, yeah, and had some of the best weapon shooting with the mixed type of arrows you could use, pissy chipmunks and shit. That game.
Oh my god, yeah.
I want these guys to get a real game, a real budget, I guess.
I always think of the Stranger like doing that, like, gotta get to town.
Yeah, dude. You do a really good. That's a good fucking. By the way, that is a really good. What do you call it? Impression. That is really good. Yes, I do think so. That is phenomenal compared to what. Like, if I tried, I would just sound like a guy talking husky. Yeah, man. I would love to see them get some cash. If I had the money, they'd be one of the very few companies out there that I would. Again, I don't know, because sometimes it feels like he has issues being on time, and like maybe he holds on to things like a Ken Levine. It does seem like, go read some of the, you know this, but if you read some of the interviews, you can tell some difficulties there.
Yeah, there's definitely I agree. I think there's a Ken Levine kind of, not like a issue of working with, but more along the lines of a like in on everything. It's got to be just right.
It's hit. Yeah, exactly. It's like it's got to be what I want it, or it's not going out.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah. What else was there?
Months.
Oh, dude, I got to say this.
Deathloop looks great.
I want. Yeah. Oh no. That's what I was gonna say.
Okay.
Okay, listeners, I want to know, do you truly...
It's a record of disagreements.
So, bro, so we had a big discussion about this. So this is interesting. Here's what I saw with Deathloop, and maybe I'm wrong. Deathloop, from moment to moment, had absolutely no visual consistency at all. It looked cartoonish, then it looked good, then it looked rough, then it looked almost animation style, then its color was very realistic, then its color was cartoony. It was all over the place.
Okay.
And I told people it looked like 4 games that were pretending to be one. And then its title screens don't even look the same. Its menu was like the almost old style 1980s peachy art kind of thing, which looks like nothing of the rest. Oh, but you thought it looked awesome.
Good. I want to make, and not to correct you on a minuscule level. The reason I say good is because I still have yet to see them slow the game down, where I like to play arcane games in a methodical fashion. Prey,
Okay.
Dishonored. I like to slow down, explore, and this game's all about you're on a timer, you're on this death loop, you die and start again. I don't know if that's my jam, right? I don't know if I'm going to like that from them. But what I'm seeing, I do like. For example, the lift up, shoot.
Oh, yeah.
throw them to the side.
I was talking about the style. You're absolutely right with the combat looked Dishonored 2 kind of.
Yeah, like Dishonored with action. I mean, I was really about that. Yeah, I'm looking now. I see what you're talking about. I actually didn't catch this the first time. That's so funny. Yeah, because this one has like this looks cartoonish, but then the combat starts. I'm like, wait. It's like,
it's discordant a little bit. But I agree with you on the combat itself, right? What they do or what those characters do, that looked to be exactly what Dishonored fans like. I think.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I'm curious how much, if I can take my time, I will really like that. I don't know. I go back and forth because I think the Majora's Mask mentality, like we saw it in Lightning Returns, and this seems to have not that, but a little bit of a timer involved in some way, or at least that's what the PR statements are saying. I like it and dislike it. I like to smell the roses sometimes. Like I not all the time. There are moments I just hit the gas and go, but sometimes those moments don't click with me where I like the game. I want to go somewhere and the game's saying no. It's not a good feeling, and it's not their fault because that's like the intent of the design is you got to go, man. But I'm also, they haven't explained I think part of the reason this game, if you've noticed, it's strangely quiet because I think no one knows what the fuck this game is. Like they're doing such a horrible job explaining what this other woman who hunting you down is. Like they show in the trailer, she transforms into a disguise, and I'm like, okay, are they saying here now she not only hunts you, but you can bump into a guy, and it's like, oh fuck, that's her, and that could be very cool dynamically. But the way they are selling it and describing it, I don't know, and it's tough to figure out. Dustin, what do you make of Deathloop?
I think it looked fucking awesome.
Oh fuck yeah, Dustin, let's go.
That's all I have to really say.
Oh, that's it? You're just man, a few
words.
No,
I mean, I don't know any more or less about the game, but I thought the trailer was fucking cool.
Yeah, exactly. That is true.
And
you
I'm
can watch the entire trailer and be like, I have no clue what's happening.
It may come out, it might be shit. Yeah, but I thought the trailer was cool.
This trailer is, I'm looking again, this trailer is phenomenal. They actually got an original song for it too, Deja Vu.
Right, man.
This trailer is like artistically with the way the bullets are raining from the pistol and then it turns into an hourglass to like symbolize the clock. I mean, that's cool. Like this is a really good trailer.
That's why I want the game, which doesn't, by the way, to look like that, because I actually like that art style and the craziness you know what I mean?
I see what you're talking about again.
Do you see what I'm saying? They do not look alike. It looks like somebody different made all those parts. It's just so different, man.
Yeah, I think it's a lighting thing because
it probably is. For
some has levels. Like a glow, and then when they're outdoors during the daytime, it's more realistic looking. It doesn't have that pastel look and feel that most arcane titles have. But yeah, what the fuck? I think it's because of the textures of the outdoors with the character models, which look anything but real.
Right. Yeah, it's but here's the thing, maybe they explain that. That's what I was saying in the Discord yesterday. I was like, who knows? I'm just saying what I'm seeing. Maybe they explain that, that like, because that person transformed into like 7 different things in that one moment. And you're like, okay, then maybe what if one world is a cartoony world and the next is not? It's like, I could deal with that. I just have no clue until we see it. I did like the grabbing and tossing and throwing and leaping and she leaps through a window. He, I don't know what sex you are actually, but there's like the window and you leap through it and then go into another one. And I was like, that looks fun.
Yeah. It looks good. It's just, I want to know what it is. And I really don't think, because I've been trying to figure out trailer after trailer. And because when they first showed it off, I remember being hyped because I thought, oh man, this is what they're doing after Dishonored. They're going to try to take some of these crazy powers and bring them into this noir style universe. And thinking, oh, this could be really cool. And then they back it up and say, oh, it's more action focused and there's a timer, but then there's stealth in the trailer. And so I don't think I'm going to know until I actually play this game. And I've kind of just given up, but I'm excited nonetheless because it is Arcane and I think they are very talented. I think that pretty much were all the major beats from this state of play. So my iPad's locking up, so I can't even tell, but we'll pretend. So let's move on into Patron questions. Last segment of the show where those of you listening can write in if you're signed up over at patreon.com/MrMattyPlays. We'd love to have you there. Communicate in our Discord. See what you think of the show and ask all your questions. So we're doing things a little bit different this time with the questions. What we decided is since this was going to be a very news-heavy show, we are going to do a cut. So I've actually for once previewed the patron questions. So they will begin with, once I get a name, they will begin with Carlton Dexter and they will end with Know-It-All. After that, we have questions that were submitted day and date for this show, and there's like a good 10 of them now. We will get to those in next week's show just for the sake of timing because we're already 2 hours and 10 minutes in. So that was the decision we made before the show. So with that, let's get started with Carlton Dexter. So, hello. I'm just listening to your latest podcast now and got to the Patreon where you asked to resubmit questions which were missed last time. So here's mine again. Thank you. Hello. In Hitman 3, there's a level set in Dartmoor, which is an area of the UK near where I live. And being from the UK, it's nice but weird to see a game set so nearby. I don't think we get many games set here outside of London. This adds a bit more immersion to the game as you can recognize or at least agree with the artistic direction of the area that they are trying to portray. What games have you played that are set in your hometown/area or place you live? And what have you enjoyed about the level of detail added to make the area close to reality? I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but watching videos of the level definitely reminded me of going for walks along the moor. Also, to clarify, I don't live in a big murder mansion.
That's too bad. That's really too bad. That's out of all this. That's what I got out of this discussion.
I was going to say.
That's too bad.
I mean, why aren't you? It reminds me when I was in Lake George. When I was in Lake George, there's this fucking like manor that is just, it creeps me out. There's absolutely, it's the place you look at and you went, someone's died here. Someone's absolutely died here. So just mentioning that reminds me of that. Thank you, Carlton, for bringing that up. As you know, a frequenter of New York City, absolutely, from The Division to Spider-Man, I've seen a lot of it. And it's interesting because it's always been different slices. Spider-Man adds like MCU shit to their version of New York City. I've found that The Division has been the most interesting, the first one, to explore and see their interpretation of like taking Madison Square Garden and turning it into like a hospital setting and making like a whole firefight in there. That was like a really strange moment because I go there all the time for Rangers games when I was able to. And like going in there and being like, oh, I know where this is. Oh, this is where the fan shop usually is. And oh, wow, they actually like, put something in there. That's really cool. It's a level of detail that very few people will realize, but the fact that you see them going that length, I'm sure it's what you experienced maybe with Dartmoor, is awesome. So for me, that would personally be my answer is The Division. That's a game that I thought did a pretty good job.
I don't have any because I don't think there's been a single. I mean, Alan Wake is in the Pacific Northwest.
Was Days Gone? Was that close to you?
Oh yeah, Days Gone, Bend. Yeah, true. That, and I've been there 1,000 times. That, but nowhere near realistic in its locations of things. If that makes sense. So yeah, I don't think we've really had anything.
It's never like, quite one for one accurate, you know.
Right, and the only one, Maddie, that actually, funny enough, felt cool, even though it wasn't. Well, there's two. The Crew. Because the Crew tries to mimic every freeway, and I drive a lot of freeways, and there was a couple times in races where I was like, oh shit, this is like Pacific Northwest, this is like I-5, but also truck driver simulator, whatever it is, Euro Truck Simulator and USA Truck Simulator. Both of those do mimic the location around here, which were cool. There was a couple places actually where you could take the truck and deliver something that was somewhat close to the tool/hardware store in the location. That's probably awesome. The best. Yeah.
It's a little weird feeling, right? I mean, I'm sure everyone could experience this with Microsoft Flight Simulator, but...
Oh, that's true. Yeah, Microsoft Flight Sim definitely has some of those.
Yeah. For me, Maddie, one that's very near and dear to your channel, the Fallout 3 DLC, The Pit. Remember that?
Oh, wow.
So I'm looking at footage of it now because I played it when it came out, but it was so long ago. I remember when it came out thinking like, that didn't really feel very accurate, but not even, I wouldn't say that. Okay. Because obviously it's Fallout. Like DC is nothing like what it's like in Fallout 3. But I mean, it had iconic
I like how you have to tell
locations.
people though.
Yeah.
You got to warn people.
I feel like if I recall, they really don't have. I mean, the main iconic aspect is there are a lot of bridges in the DLC, and that's, I don't know. Maybe I'm not remembering. I'm looking through it now. Nothing's sticking out. But also, we had in The Last of Us, you go to Pittsburgh, and that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to remember if I got to look up the Last of Us Pittsburgh locations. That's the whole arc of the story with
Be right
like
back.
the guy and his brother, right?
It has been a while. I have not played that game since it came out, actually. I never even played
Right.
the remastered version, but yeah, I wouldn't be able to accurately answer that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's definitely like an arc that's in Pittsburgh.
Right.
And I remember feeling like they got the downtown area feeling pretty good. But yeah, there's not a lot of game stuff in Pittsburgh as far as I know. Yeah, we don't even have very many game developers.
I feel like I feel like you and Karak are like in a crappy spot in the sense of being able to answer this question. It's like it's very hard to find a game set there. Whereas in my case, just it seems like every fucking movie is set in the city.
Okay, I found a Reddit post. Pittsburgh in video games. Left 4 Dead takes place in and around Pittsburgh. The first chapter, No Mercy, is in the city, ending with a helicopter rescue at the top of Mercy Hospital.
Set a timer for 20 minutes.
Oh. Carrick's talking to Alexa.
Sorry about that.
What do you got going on in 20 minutes, Carrick?
My dogs. I had to
Oh,
put
okay.
them. My puppies. I had to put them out. They're puppy peeing.
I
Yeah.
love that.
I don't remember
I
Left 4
don't
Dead
like
taking
that.
place in Pittsburgh.
I'm being sarcastic, Karak. I went through it in 2019. It's awful.
Oh, dude, it's awful. It's with, and I have 5 dogs, so
It's
it's like I have an
exhausting.
old dog that does it and 2 puppies now that do it. It is so horrendous. People don't like. I know what a housewife. You in the old days they'd be like, housewives' jobs are so taken over for animals and stuff, and it's like you'll hear people be like, it's not that hard. Nah, man. Like you got a bit like my back hurts now after constantly like it sounds so dumb, but it's like after you pick up the rug the 40th time to wash it because a dog peed on it, your back is like, dude, seriously, just start taking roids, man. This is not going to work out. What you were saying, Last of Us? Is that the game you guys were talking about when I came back? You were
Yeah,
talking
there's an arc that's in Pittsburgh.
Oh,
Yeah. So, but yeah, someone on this Reddit post said Left 4 Dead takes place in Pittsburgh. And
Left
I don't
4 Dead.
Left
Oh,
4 Dead, the
shooter.
first chapter, No Mercy is in the.
Gotcha.
So I don't remember feeling that way, or seeing that, but yeah.
Did you guys like Left 4 Dead? Left 4 Dead's the shooter, right? The Half-Life shooter, or not Half-Life, but Source Engine shooter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, that game's fucking rad. I
Never
love
played
that
it.
game.
Never. Wow.
No, but everybody. I mean, one of my Discord fans is like, "It's the best game ever made and ever will be made." I'm like, dude,
Man.
that's
It's a
strong words,
classic,
man.
but yeah, it is a classic, but it's not like if you play it now, you go, "Oh wow, this is actually what a
of
zombie
course.
game should
Yeah.
be." It's
Right.
more like it started the whole zombie horde trend.
Right.
It has that unique feel of when you bump into like a witch and this woman just like lashes out at you and takes your whole team out. There's a couple of moments peppered throughout like that. I'd like to see them take another crack at that series. I doubt they ever will, but
Well,
there's been
isn't
rumors
that
for
what-
years.
Wasn't that what the other game is, right? The one that they showed at the event. I mean, that's made by the same company.
Yeah.
It's just not called Left 4 Dead. It looked like it was Left 4 Dead, though.
Oh, Back
At
for
least to
Blood.
me.
Back for
Yeah,
Blood.
thank you. Back for Blood, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Mac the Knife is our next write-in, with Diablo 2 getting a fantastic-looking remaster. Jeez, there was so much fucking news. I already forgot about that, which paves
So
the
did
way
I.
for
We
how
talked about it last week.
Oh, yes, we did.
We
Yes,
were
did,
like,
'cause
it was
broke
coming
in the middle
hot.
of our show.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. I forgot about that.
In the middle, right at the end, right? Sorry.
No, you're good. I think it was our second or first.
Oh, was it? I thought it was right at the end, but now I remember that we did talk about it. Yeah. Okay.
Has your brain ever got confused? Because when I went up with 2 and then I went down to 1 like this with my finger, I almost went like this and yeah.
Mine is never confused. Yeah, I know that I just count starting 1 and I end starting 1.
I put down my middle finger and my brain went, something's wrong with this. And I was like, wow, do I flip people off that much? Let's reread that one more time. Mac the Knife says, with Diablo 2 getting a fantastic looking remaster, which paves the way for how an old game can be brought to modern day with a shiny coat of paint, think we'll ever see the likes of Fallout 1 and 2, Divine Divinity, or Arcanum get the same remastered level treatment?
Divine Divinity, baby. Whoever this person is now my favorite fucking person in the world. Dude, Divine Divinity is so much better than Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2. People will just never experience it, and it's sad to say.
Oh, man,
it is so good.
You just hurt Matty deep.
I know.
I haven't played it, so I can't respond. But
Absy was playing it, and he was like, "Holy fuck, this game's like the biggest hidden gem ever." How do the Original Sin nailed it, obviously, so nobody needs to return. But I would love to see those. I don't think we'll see a lot of. I mean, I don't think we'll see more or less.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But I also like to argue for my own sanity that Microsoft would be extremely stupid to leave all of Fallout completely dormant when they own it, and not like they don't want anyone like outside of 76. Just
5?
Yeah, that's if it's from Bethesda Game Studios, which who knows at this point, right? Because you've got Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6. There's that huge gap. So I'm like, they got to figure something out there. It's been a topic beat to death, but it's just one of those things I look at and think, like maybe a remaster of some kind. I don't know. Hopefully, Mac.
Do you guys want to know what's just the creepiest thing in the world when it comes to money? It was $7.8 billion for Bethesda. Do you know how many games that turns out to be? That turns out to be 78 games at 100 million. Imagine, I'm not saying they'll do that, but imagine if Microsoft backed up the purchase price of them with even a half. That would be 34 fucking games at 100 million a piece. That is, it's numbers that no human will ever experience that isn't like normal or has the name Gates at the end of their name. That is awesome. I wish Microsoft was like, let's spend another billion. Can you imagine being in a meeting with Phil Spencer? He's got his feet up. He's probably, I'm assuming he's in like boxers, because that's my Phil Spencer. Boxer Phil Spencer. He's always comfortable at work. He's in his boxers, not uncomfortable boxers. He's got the sewn front. And he's just talking. He's like, you know what, guys? We spent 7.8. Let's spend $1 billion on fucking 5.
Why make the games?
The biggest? Like, it's insanity how much money they have.
Yeah,
it's insane. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, let's see Fallout get remade.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with the Diablo 2, is it a remake or a remaster?
It's a
There's all new graphics, but you can switch between the two. So it's not like a full on. The base code is still there, as far as I know.
Because I feel like they could do that with the older Fallout games at least. I don't want to see them try to remake them, because I would rather just a new Fallout game. Make Fallout 5 at that point. But if you're going to remaster these games, which they feel old, they definitely do. There's a lot of I'm forgetting the term now, fail safes, where you can just get caught and you got to reload like a really old save. And that shit sucks. So yeah, they did some quality of life improvements and brought back Fallout 1 and 2 for more people to experience. Because there were people like me, when I was a teenager, I thought Fallout 3 started. That was it. There was no Fallout 1 or 2.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because I guess I forgot how to fucking count. But there were, and then eventually I just looked up, because what happens is, and I know I'm not the only one, you look up Fallout 1 and 2 because you think, well, it's 3. And then you see this top-down isometric RPG. And once again, as a teenager, I look at it and go, this isn't Fallout. All right, so I guess it just started with 3.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, idiot move, but eventually learned my lesson. Logan B is our next write-in. This may be a silly question, but could you guys explain exactly what are second-party games? First party is exclusives. Third party is multi-plat. Are second-party games even a thing? I never see anyone mention them or what games would fall under the second-party umbrella. Thank you, Logan, for this question.
We can answer this one real fast.
I was going to say, whoever wants to go for it. I mean, I could. It's up to you guys.
I mean, go for it, man. You're the top dog.
I'm the top dog? No.
You're the top dog of this show, dude.
We're equals here. No, that's not a thing. No. So second party pretty much is like a contractual agreement that you will create a game exclusively for, say, PlayStation, but they do not own you. So you are not. So you're pretty much working for them. We'll say like a Final Fantasy. I do not know about the timing of that. I don't know if second party exclusive is like Demon's Souls Remake. I do not anticipate that leaving PlayStation. I don't know if it's because the game is forever exclusive, it would fall under second party, or if there's a timed window. Because because I know sometimes I'll say third party exclusive, because let's say Dying Light 2 ends up Xbox exclusive, which it won't, by the way. But let's say, or who knows? Who the fuck knows? But let's right? Who knows? But let's say it does end up that way. Would that be third party because they're buying it out versus second party, which is like you're working from the get-go.
Well,
and it's not
second
timed.
party also many times can mean fully. So second party can mean fully funded via the primary party as well, which is completely different than even what you were talking about, which is just an exclusivity, which is usually considered third party exclusivity. But a second party, which there are second party for sure, that's where the entire amount is paid by somebody, and it's sort of like an exclusive from day one versus an exclusive where maybe they might have been fishing it around and shopping it around. There's also the thing with first party, third party, second party. The reason why you don't hear about second party most of the time is because the way you get to second party is rare. Like you would almost never get to second party because it would either be exclusive or not exclusive. And once one of those two are mentioned, usually third party or first party is mentioned. So, because you can have a first party not exclusive as well. We don't see it as often, but you could have a Microsoft game, right? That, or you could consider Horizon Zero Dawn. There we go. But anyway, you could have that. You could have a first party that is not exclusive as well. So second party really is, I can only think of like Remedy was considered second party by Microsoft. Yeah. It was not considered at that time an Xbox exclusive. And I believe that's because of the money that was paid to get them to make it for the Xbox at that time. If I remember right, there was some, because I remember that was being mentioned.
Right.
I don't know. Pretty shady. Or not shady, sorry, but confusing.
Like Demon's Souls, second party.
Yeah.
Demon's Souls. They don't own Blue Point, but they own the IP and they paid them to make it for them.
Oh, that's another thing he just mentioned, owning the IP. So a primary can own the IP, and if they hire somebody who's not the primary to make the IP, that's a second party. So like it's confusing. I forgot the IP completely. Yeah.
There's a lot to it, right? Like what I described, a lot of it is second party, but then it can fall into third party, and then you round out those specifics, and it's like it's pretty hard to get there. It's kind of like what a lot of people request of Bethesda is, hey, hand out the Fallout IP to someone and fund it and have them make it a new Fallout game, whatever it may be. Think of it in that capacity. But yeah, Demon's Souls is probably the most recent, best example of.
Did you play Demon's Souls on the PS5?
Yes.
Dustin?
Oh,
sorry. When you were redoing the games, did you play the PS5 or did you go play the PC version or the non-remake?
For Demon's Souls?
Yeah, did you do Demon's Souls?
So no, not as part of my stream. I just played Demon's Souls on the PS5. Yeah, I played the PS3 version years ago. I never finished it, but
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Straw Hat Ninja writes in, greetings, gentlemen. Now that we have a Persona Muso game, what is another franchise you'd like to see get a Muso game? Personally, I think a God of War one would be pretty cool.
Oh my God, just kill me now.
Yeah,
I want something stupid.
God of War.
Like something ridiculous. I don't know.
Right. Like something ridiculous seems like it fits better, doesn't it?
Yeah. Like I want
It's interesting because with Hyrule Warriors and Persona 5 Strikers, they've kind of brought it down a level where it's not the 1,000 KO battles that you're
Right.
familiar with. So it's hard at times to even call those games Musou games. They have Musou inspired gameplay, but
Right. How about a Rayman Musou game where you have to kill hundreds and thousands of rabbits? Something like that. Something weird.
Rayman would be fun. Like that would be Splatoon or something goofy like that. Not Splatoon. It has to have an enemy that you can face 1,000 times without being like, oh my God, I just faced him 1,000 times. Which Persona did pretty well.
What about Ninja Turtles?
Yeah, you could do it. Yeah, Ninja Turtles.
I feel like
that would work. Transformers, all the old 1980s cartoons, G.I. Joe, which I haven't got to play the new game. I know there's a G.I. Joe game.
It's not good.
Oh, didn't Colin
According
buy
to
it?
Colin, bought it and played it, and he said it sucked.
Why did he buy it? What the fuck?
Because he loves G.I. Joe, and he wants
so
to
do
send
I.
a message to Hasbro
Right,
to make
Hasbro.
to make that, even if it's bad.
Because see, I agree with him. I'm a fucking G.I. Joe freak, but I didn't buy it because I was a little nervous about it. It's good to know.
The John G Show writes in, "Hey guys, I'm currently playing, Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition, and I'm absolutely in love with how Hong Kong looks and feels in that game. Which city would you like to see in a video game that is set in the modern era that hasn't been done yet, like New York in The Division or London in Watch Dogs Legion? Thanks for answering, and much love from an international listener. Keep up the great work. Sleeping Dogs is so fucking good. If you have not played it, do yourself a favor, go play it. It's amazing. I am not like an open world replay junkie. I've played that game 5 times. It is. I love the story. I love Wei Shen. I love the combat
in that game is what elevates it.
Oh, absolutely. Because you can, for those who need to be convinced, this is it right here. You can drag a guy into an air conditioning unit, and that's it. He's done.
Yeah.
He's done.
I always use the air conditioning unit for the example too. I don't know why. It must be the first kill you can do, maybe. But
no,
I use that.
The first one to me was you throw a guy on a counter, and there's like one of those things,
and you grab the fucking grate.
Yeah, you close it on his chest, and you cave in his
dude.
His ribs.
It's
You're like,
so fucking wrong when you think about that. It's so over the top.
Dude, the worst one is if you drag them to a car and you just, for those who have watched Daredevil, I think it was season 2, where Kingpin just like bangs a guy's head in with the car door. You pretty much do that, except minus like the clear gore.
So he was asking about what city in real life
that we'd like to see a video game set in.
I think it's already been there, so I want to give him kudos. But I think I didn't like the game a great deal, but Watch Dogs 2 was San Francisco. San Francisco's a highly interesting just location. It's insanely interesting when you look at it in all different aspects. That was very cool. I don't know an actual one that hasn't been done.
My first pick would have been Paris, but you know what? I think of the Saboteur, and they did a really good job with that too.
Did a really good job with that. Yeah. But that is true. It's not even anywhere near new. So you could. I think that's
I guess that could fit.
answer.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing Paris. I think there's a feel to that. I don't know what series would do that, or if it had to be a current standing series. But
dude,
sure.
So Paris has a pretty amazing culture, but it also has a pretty incredible underground. And we've seen Snatch and other ones try to do the movie Snatch, try to do European underground and stuff. That would be pretty cool to do Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs Legion already did London, but I would do a Watch Dogs Paris.
God, yeah.
That would be awesome. That's the only sound I can do, by the way. That's how bad it is. I would play the shit out of that though. Yeah.
For me, I mean, we already talked about it slightly, but I would love to see an open world Pittsburgh, because we've got these little tastes, and it's a unique city. It's like it's on this, it's the 3 rivers. They converge, and the city is between the 2 rivers, and it's like a very densely. It's like in this one spot. It's very dense, very lots of skyscrapers, and then it's kind of outside of that one really dense area. It's really sprawls out into all these really interesting different neighborhoods and suburbs of the city. So, and no one's done it, I don't think. As far as open world.
Our next question, Dustin, I'm going to point it to you because Karak and I did answer this on Defining Duke. It's
Okay.
exactly the same question. So I will point it to you, Dustin.
While he's doing that,
answer.
I'll be right back. I'm going to get my pups.
Sure. Crickix writes in, do you guys have a game that is objectively bad that you still enjoy? For me, it's DayZ on console, OG Xbox One. It runs like dog shit, crashes frequently, bugs out at the worst times, has vehicles that you could spend a whole day gathering parts for only to start driving and having it fall through the map or fling off the atmosphere, or stratosphere, sorry. Still absolutely love it, though. I don't know why. And I consider it to be one of the best, worst-made games ever.
Ooh, this is hard.
It's tough because when Karak and I were asked this on Defining Duke, I said it's tough to answer because if you like something, you don't think of it as the bad game. Even if you know it's bad,
Right.
you think of it as something you enjoy, which inherently you're like, that's not bad. So
Sure.
something
I mean,
that scratches your particular itch maybe to get your brain going.
I mean, part of me thinks that like Kingdom Hearts is kind of bad. Like the story's
That's a good
fucking
answer, yeah.
stupid, but I like it. I just grew up like I remember loving it as a kid and stuff like that.
shit.
So, but
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like I don't have a good answer. I'm trying to think of like PlayStation 1 games that were bad that like I played anyway, but I don't know. Nothing's. What did you guys answer? I'm just curious, real quick.
What
like,
was the question again, bud?
Game that is objectively bad that we still enjoy. We did this on Defining
God,
Duke.
this was hard. We had all kinds of issues trying to answer this. Alexa, turn off.
Objectively bad.
Yeah,
Like, why would you play it?
I know,
Isn't
right?
that what we came up with?
Mediocre. Yeah, mediocre is easier to pick because at least there's something there.
I
Like,
can give you an answer that's considered not great and is one of my favorite games of all time, which is Punisher for the Xbox and PS2. That game,
I
you
think I
can
picked
poke
Batman
you can
Vengeance.
poke somebody's eye out with a fucking mammoth tusk. This good game.
Okay. I can't fully answer, but I will give you a small, short story of a bad game I had a great time with. I think it was Angry Video Game Nerd did a video about Where's Waldo on NES.
Oh my gosh.
And it's so fucking bad. And I actually had a copy of it. And so my friend and I played it together, and then we like joked about it for months. Because like we would we would remember the soundtrack was like the soundtrack, like the opening song and stuff. It's just like, whoever's idea, actually, you know whose fucking idea? You know who made Where's Waldo on the NES? You're never gonna believe this.
Okay, I was gonna say I remember Angry Video Game Nerd had this
FromSoft.
one company that he showed. It had like a rainbow for their logo. I forget the name.
Oh,
of
that's
that company.
LGN.
Yeah, he had them as like the devil in all those
Yeah.
games. When you saw it, you were like, "Oh fuck, this is gonna be bad."
Maddie, I shit you not. Where's Waldo for the NES was developed by Bethesda Softworks.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. But
You gotta
it's just
start somewhere.
it's such a horrible. I understand the idea. They're like, "Where's Waldo?" It's great. The kids love it. Let's get a game out. And so, but it just doesn't work with that level of graphics. It just doesn't.
I gotta
So,
look this up. That's hilarious.
It's fucking awful. But we had so much fun like making fun of it.
I gotta say, I'll throw a game out there too that is legitimately fucking terrible, but I got a kick out of playing it. Rogue Warrior. That game.
Oh, wow.
That game is terrible, but the dialogue in that shit is hilarious. Like, for those who don't know what Rogue Warrior is, you're playing as this soldier who literally consistently tells his like commander in chief to go fuck himself, like he's gonna do what he wants. He drives the United States into a war with North Korea, and at one point, he's looking at like a tower, and it's his objective, and he just talks about how he says the great leader must have a tiny dick, and that is a line. I usually don't remember quotes from games, but that is one that is forever cemented in my brain because of the ridiculousness levels that game brought. I mean, I'm just saying, look up a video on Rogue Warrior and some of the shit that's said. It's off the chains, man. And that, funny enough, Dustin, published by Bethesda.
Oh shit.
So,
Dude, Bethesda.
man. Up until they got Wolfenstein New Order in the mix, that's when they started to clean up their act. But before that, they were just the most hit and miss publisher that they sucked big time. All right, switching gears here. Steve Wolf writes in, okay, so I've come to the love gurus themselves for a dating question. Oh, boy. Ooh. I'm supposed to have a date with this girl on Saturday, and I have it all planned out. Good. But if it goes well, I have no ideas for what we could do next in the time of COVID. Any date ideas for a world where nothing is open? Also, I already asked if she played video games. She said yes, but the only game she has is Mortal Kombat. Is that a warning sign or a good sign? Take care, guys. All right, Steve.
That's such an odd only game to have.
Yeah, right? Mm-hmm.
That
like,
is
what
a
is
warning.
And what does she mean by Mortal Kombat?
She doesn't only have Mortal Kombat. I bet you $1 million that's the only game that came up into her brain when he asked her if she played games.
Oh, shit.
It's popular, which is fine, by the way. Because yeah, she's definitely a liar because you wouldn't only have Mortal. Makes absolute shit sense. You would at minimum have the free games that come with it. Like there's all kinds of weird oddities to that kind of combat or content. Sorry, answer not content. It's not content. But yeah, it would make no sense. I think you should trust her though. Go sleep with her. She sounds like she's either going to be the best time ever or dangerous as fuck. And I want to hear the story. So for me, if you would please continue this relationship, I would really be happy.
Okay. Beside the Mortal Kombat comment, let's talk second date. Second date in the world of COVID. I mean, the second date though, I mean, that's the one where it can be a little more personal than maybe the first date. But
it's a little more loose, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on where you are because you could theoretically, like where I live, you could go to a mall right now and go shopping or something, or you could go to a restaurant. I feel like a restaurant date is a perfect date number 2. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, despite it probably sometimes not being the smartest thing, there are plenty of places open and a restaurant. I would say, dude, I'm a big mini golf date guy. You can social distance during that. Go mini golfing. Mini golfing is fun as shit. It gets everyone talking. No one has a bad time at mini golf unless they are viciously competitive and will curse your name if you beat them.
Now, I don't want this conversation. Okay, I guess it wouldn't be political, but here's a question about the COVID and dating is that, Maddie, your girlfriend, when she comes over, you're not social distancing with her. She's your girl. She's been your girlfriend for a long time now. And I'm sure that many people do that, right? The ones that are most close to you, you know, you make exceptions for it, whether that's right or wrong. And I think there's, it's different with your girlfriend. She's young. You've already had COVID. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So
that's a big aspect of it. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, let's say this guy goes on a second date. It goes well. There's a third date. They eventually start getting serious. At some point, then the social distancing is off.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Where does the social distancing turn off in a new relationship during the COVID era?
Yeah. I mean, you always got to be smart with it, of course, because when I've been dating my girlfriend for 3 years, and when this whole thing started, we were on like that 2-week cycle, and obviously because of our own schedules and work, it would go beyond that, and it was really fucking hard, man. It really tested us.
Or not hard at all.
Yes, actually, and so
too far.
No, you're accurate, in fact. And so honestly, it's one of those things where eventually, yeah, we just said, okay, we need to trust each other, right? Like probably everyone listening to this has had this type of talk with their significant other during this time period of trust each other and not like we didn't, but I'm saying with this whole COVID thing being involved, and eventually, yes, I don't want to say it goes out the window, but like if for some reason my girlfriend were to go to like a restaurant, masks off, tons of people around, she'd be like, we're gonna wait until I'm cleared, because she gets tested every week for her job. So that's the other thing, right?
Right.
I have this bonus quirk, Steve. I'm allowed to know my girlfriend's safe, and I work here in a studio, so I thought I was safe, and then I fucking got it. So there's clearly something there, but
that wasn't on you. I mean,
no, it wasn't.
We don't have to get into the details,
no,
but it wasn't. It wasn't your irresponsibility.
Yeah,
that caused that.
But what I will say is, mini golf would be my pick. You can do that just fine. And best of luck to you, Steve. I hope you marry this woman, because she's only got Mortal Kombat. You gotta broaden those horizons.
Dude, she's actually like a pro Mortal Kombat player. That's
Yeah,
why it's the
imagine
only
he
game
just-
she has. She has focus.
He just shows up and he gets fucking waxed. Like, he gets destroyed. It's not even close. He gets perfected every fight. Steve,
The
you
good
could
thing
challenge her to
that might be her kink.
Yeah.
Is destroying a man in Mortal Kombat and then destroying him in the bedroom.
Oh, my. All right. Know-it-all is the last question. You guys are truly fantastic in your own right, but when you three come together for the podcast, you were truly a dynamic trio. My question this week for each of you is, what is a quality you appreciate about each of your fellow co-hosts?
We've done this before, but we can do
have.
it again.
But I think it was just you and I, Dustin.
Mm.
We didn't have an opportunity to have Karak just love on us. I just love the idea of Karak just being like, Matt's a
These
piece
are the
of shit.
cheesiest cheese dick fucking kind of comments. I hate this shit. This is like,
Soften
hey
up,
man,
Karak.
let's go to your fucking group and have like a work group. Have you ever done those work group get-togethers where they're like, let's all talk about your feelings at a work group? And I'm like, dude, seriously? I don't come to work for feelings, bitch. I don't know.
Guess what?
You guys are funny. And here's the thing. I don't have the fucking time to talk to people that I don't like. So there you go. That's your most positive thing.
I would kill to be in a relationship with Karak for a month just to see
Dude,
just
I'm not lying.
day
I'm just
to day.
I like talking to you guys. I'm not here to hug on you. I have no fucking clue. You're funny and fun to talk to. Like the rest of the stuff, I don't know you well enough to say you sound like nice people, but what if you're not? What if you're both fucking murderers who skin kids and wear their skin around, traipsing around dancing?
Hold on.
I wouldn't know.
I think you've known me long enough to know I'm not a murderer.
No way, dude. Here's the thing. I don't, because
What the fuck?
you and I know each other, right? And we talk sometimes, but we only talk on Twitter. You're not fucking dialing me up late at night being like, what are you wearing? So I have no clue what you're doing and what I'm doing late at night. You could be a killer, and then your blood-stained fingers are typing on Twitter when you're DMing me. I have no clue.
Wow. So I got to move close to you to just get into this
Yeah,
circle.
right. Dude, just so you know, Cadiz, who I know in real life, he's part of my Discord, we've never once ever talked about sex. Ever. I do not talk about feelings with friends. I do not talk about sexual encounters with friends. I do not, that is just not me. I'm like, well, whatever. So I wouldn't even know. If you are a murderer, if you've been slaughtering people, I just wouldn't know. I wouldn't even know how to go about it. I'm glad we moved on from me with the dating question too, because I would not have known how to answer that. I never think of that shit. So like a second date would have just happened. I would have never put two and two together to decide or to think about it. Like, I wouldn't have, we would have just been like, man, we're having a second date. All right, let's show up. Let's do something. I'm not good.
You're the
with
man
that
without a
stuff.
plan. You roll.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. And it's the same way with friends.
Fucks.
Well, no, it's like friends. I'm hanging out with people. That's how you know I like them, but I don't like to pick it apart because then it feels weird. It feels uncomfortable. I don't say why the exact things I love about my spouse either, ever. I never would. In fact, I don't even remember what they're called. When you're getting married and you say them to each other. Vows. That's going to get my ass kicked. Wow. Anyway.
Hopefully she doesn't listen.
So you say your vows, right? And you're supposed to say specific things. Mine were not very specific because that's not, I don't know. It's weird. Like, unless I said she's got a nice ass,
Yeah.
physical stuff, right? But I'm not going to say that about you guys.
I mean, why not?
Well, you may, because I've never seen your ass ever. Now that I think about it.
I've never seen below Karak's waist. Now that I think about it.
And somebody else said that too. They're like, I've never seen Karak's feet. So I've got pictures like on Instagram and stuff.
Just like, I've never seen, do you wear jeans? Are you a jeans guy?
Yeah. Well, right now I'm in sweats, but yeah, I'm a jeans guy.
You're sweats.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what I was going to say is that I have seen Matty with my own eyes at PAX. I recognized him
there you
from
go.
a distance. I can confirm that he's a real person at least. Karak may not be real.
I'm a digital avatar. I'm a Japanese girl pretending to be a logger.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know.
It's so weird with digital, not digital friends. What's the term? Online friends versus real friends too, because you may not ever see them, which is weird when you think about it. You guys have got to see each other because of an event. I might get to see you guys because of an event, but if not, you could know somebody for 20, 30 years and never once I mean,
it's funny.
like accuracy, it's so weird.
When I was talking to Chris on Defining Duke Ultimate, he was saying that his best friend in his entire life is someone he has absolutely never met that he talked to through Halo.
Oh, no shit. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Friends like that during the Halo 2 era.
Yeah. It's
I
like,
wouldn't
damn.
say they're my best friends in my whole life, but they were very good friends at the time.
Yeah, I
So.
mean, some of my closest friends are literally online friends that I've talked to for about 5-6 years now, and I never met them.
Yeah.
I
think it's
said
awesome.
Something on Twitter a couple days ago about Maddie, where I said, if all the things I get out of YouTube are knowing you, that'd be good. I'd be
That was very nice.
That's about
of
the
you.
nicest thing you'll hear from me. Where I'll be like, if I died tomorrow, I knew Maddie. Checks out. That's pretty good.
Dude. Yeah, see that I saw that and I welled up. You know, I was like, wow.
You were like, what's going on? Is Karak dying of cancer? Why did he say something nice? What's happening?
Not even that. You say nice things to me a lot. Just I was like, wow, that was like extremely fucking nice. Like,
well, it's true. It's like that. Those are the kinds of things I think I think time spent is a valid kudo, because I don't know about you guys. I have time, but you know what I mean? Like, I'll go to my relation's house, family member's house, and I don't spend a lot of time there because I don't like them.
I get that. Yeah.
I don't mean to be rude. I don't know. And they cannot like me too, because they're not inviting me all the time. That's okay. You're not going to like everybody. So to me, one of the weird things about like kudos to me to friends is that I'll spend time with them, because it's very difficult for me to spend time with people that I'm not gelling with.
I'm the same way.
It just doesn't work.
It just doesn't work. Dustin, what do you love about us?
What do you love? You can't just like it, Dustin.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do this sincere as I can. Since we got the
my expectations are
like
dramatically low, because Karak has just been all show.
I totally understand Karak's perspective, because I feel like I am 50% like him in that I am, in a way, very non-sentimental, and so I don't know. It's
so I'm the only one on the show who harbors emotions. Is that what we're
no.
I think you might be the only one who describes them at times. Other people feel them. They just don't always like parse them.
Right. No. Okay. What I like about Karak is that I feel like, some people may see him in some of his videos or some of these podcasts. They get the explosive personality, but it's very clear to me that Karak is a very kind and caring person who, you've reached out to me independently a few different times about various stuff, and I've always very much appreciated that. And that's always when the next level with a friendship, right? Or someone
right.
So yeah, I'll leave it at that, because I know if Karak is 50% like me, then he's feeling 100% uncomfortable right now.
Yeah, I want to punch you in the neck.
Right, yeah.
So I'll or the neck. I got it mixed up. I fucking hate it. The nuck. Yeah. No, yeah, it's uncomfortable. You're just like thank you.
I don't have anything nice to say about Maddie. He said he wanted to fight me today on Twitter. He said he wanted to fist fight me. And so I wanted to put out a Twitter poll.
Dustin was just like folding his arms. I was like, man, I feel like I got to take him down a fucking peg now. Like, I don't know why. It's just like, it's on my shoulders. I was like, he looks too confident there.
Aggressive.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, Maddie, I wanted to put out a Twitter poll that's like, Maddie and I's relationship is best friends forever or mortal enemies, because it's
like hung out long enough.
Right. It's just the joke online, because Maddie and I during the show are like, what's up? And then on Twitter, it's like, fuck you, motherfucker. Yeah, fuck you, fucking die. Like,
it's like a stage. You put it perfectly. It's a stage to perform on at this point.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Twitter is theater. So treat it as such.
Absolutely.
Okay. No, what I like, I don't know. I feel like I have the same answer from last time, is that like Maddie, I don't know. I feel like Maddie has shown me a lot about the YouTube hustle and the work ethic, and I've always admired that about him and have strived to do that in my own work with Last Stand Media. And overall, too, I just like that Maddie has I feel like it sounds negative to say a childlike joy about him,
It's not,
but I don't
get
mean
it.
that in a negative way at all, because I'm 50. That's the interesting part about this show, is that I'm the hybrid of Maddie and Karak, that I 50% hate everything, and I 50% have a childlike joy for the things I love. Just it's the problem is controlling when and where. Like it's like a dial. It's one or the other. So
I get that.
I'll leave it at that.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Let's see here. That was different from what you said to me last time. I want to get Karak first. I want to see him absolutely melt in his chair with anxiety and adoration at the same time. Like, wow, what a good guy. But
I think you're a good guy. I don't need you to fucking tell me anything.
All right. I'll do Dustin first. I think Dustin, I appreciate more than anything is you have a very, and this isn't a bad thing. You have a loose nature to you. So when you show up, you even keel, like you.
Yeah.
I tend to get uppity and excited. You are the equalizer. Karak is the one who fucking grabs me from the stratosphere and plants me on the ground. So I feel like your energy is always appreciated. There's never a clash of vibes with Dustin. And that as a friend is super important.
Very useful.
Some people like, when I'm in person, I'm kind of like this. Like I even out, but I'm still animated, and I have no idea why. It's just kind of how I always have been. But it's appreciated when someone who is cool as a cucumber like Dustin can enjoy my presence despite me kind of being like banging on the door all the time, that type of stuff.
Can I add, since it's on the same topic of what you're saying, but I want to add a slight change to what I said about you, or an addition about the childlike wonder or the childlike joy. Some people have that, but they have no grounding in reality, and I can't fucking stand that. You don't have that because you're willing to call out the shit when you see it in your videos, and that's an overall with how you handle yourself. Sorry, I wanted to make sure that was clear.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's the most important part to me is that
shut up.
Right.
A lot of people act like it sounds like he's talking about.
No,
Karak said it now. Shut up,
dude. The dogs won't shut up. Sorry, continue.
No, you're good. I think a lot of people do get carried away with their excitement where they start to like make stuff up in their head, and I don't know. I feel like what's happened is because those people exist, a lot of folks just think excitement's bad. I think excitement's good. I think we need more of that, especially nowadays. Karak. Oh, Karak. Probably one of the nicest guys I've met online. Only dude I know who will, whenever I have, like, I'll just be venting out on Twitter once. I try to limit that. Karak will always, without a shadow of doubt, and I don't even put it on him, will be the first one to reach out and just be like, before family, before anyone else reaches out, it is Karak. And I admire that a lot because let's be honest, there are people who, definitely our industry who put on a smile and a nod and kind of go about, and they're like, we're friends. And then like, if they were like, man, I'm going through a tough time, they'd be like, I'm busy. I got nothing to do with you. And so for Karak to go, instead of just being like, hey, I can show up to this nice channel, I can get a little more audience here. We have a good chemistry on camera. To go the extra length off camera, to me, is what says a lot. And I value that a lot, especially in what is a really kind of backbiting industry and a place where a group of people seem to love to gossip all the time. It's nice just to have someone, both of you do this, which is just people who give a fuck. That's nice. It's very much appreciated.
You change the channel to the We Give a Fuck podcast.
Yeah, right.
Give a fuck.
I think that's a good name, actually, when you think about it. With
it is. It's just you wouldn't get your SEO would suck.
Yeah,
every time you
I would boot it out of the system.
People. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, that's one of the things that like it's a weird industry. I'll just say that it's nowhere near as backbiting as, let's say, a movie industry or something. You hear some crazy shit there, but I do agree because there's been times where we've been like, we'll be talking to each other about somebody or whatever, and I'll be like, well, they're pretty okay, but then you'll be like, yeah, well, I reached out and I didn't get anything back, and I'm like, you know what? That's funny because I do know a couple people that not even bad. They're just not there. If that makes sense. They're not there unless there's something for them kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're
and
fake.
that does. I think. Well, yeah. I sometimes I assume maybe it's family, and that they, the only time they're going to react is when something's big. But you are right that I think it was. I remember one time when we were talking, you're like, "Yeah, I just don't get anything back unless they need something," and I was like, "Oh shit, that's true." Because I don't think I had as much contact as you had with that person after a while. But yeah, you definitely.
Yeah, just in general, though, I think that's a thing. And I get it.
I
I'm a
think
guy
so, too.
with 430,000 subs. Like, I'm someone, but I'm not the person who's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a Jacksepticeye. We, like, get back to him, give him everything he needs, that type of thing. Like, this guy's going to move a mountain for us right now. It's not like that with me. So
that's why when I do contact somebody, if they contact me back, I'm positive. If they don't, I'm not always negative, because it's like, I don't know if they're seeing what I'm seeing, which is like 60 emails a day in one of 3 emails, so, but sometimes you'll reach out to somebody on YouTube or whatever, and you won't get anything back. And you're like, you don't know exactly what is occurring, which I think is cool for like how we all found. In fact, I would say most of the people I know and do anything with digitally, I found because of random continued conversation, until I realized there was continued conversation. Because it was like you and I talked about something. I don't even remember how we then moved on from Twitter, but it's like you talk, and then you're like, okay, reaching out is working both ways. All right, that's somebody I want to talk to.
Dude, I don't even know. I just remember.
I don't even remember. But it was Fallout 4 is what we started it. But I don't remember even how we moved on from Fallout 4, because I think it was the reviews, if I remember right.
Yeah, I know we talked about No Man's Sky pretty extensively.
Oh yeah, we did pretty extensively. Yeah,
and
I played
both
24 hours of that game in one sitting, which was I'm never going to get that back. It's never coming back. That time is gone.
I don't know how
forever.
you found 24 hours of things to do, man. Didn't you like sleep a little bit? Like,
no. I was up the entire time, but it wasn't great, because it was brand new. No. It wasn't where it is now.
All right, well, that'll do it for episode 291 of the H.A.M Radio Podcast. We appreciate those of you who stuck here till the end. If you did get this far,
#hugs.
Yeah, hugs, emotions.
With a Z.
Oh my God, yeah, with a Z.
Hugs with a Z.
Let's do it.
All right.
Person's probably, he's a jackass. I am when it comes to this stuff. I apologize. You're a good person. Hugs.
Comment. Twitter, whatever works for you. Let us know you got this deep. We'd love to hear from you and get some of your feedback on people who sit through all 3 hours of our shenanigans. So it's been a very busy week, and we'll see just how amped up next week is. Time will tell, but for now, we are going to tune out now, and we hope you enjoyed. With that, take good care of yourselves, and we'll see you in episode 292. Peace out.
Peace out. Hope your day is just okay. Peace out.
Absolutely.